Big Joe Greene with an E, 7@gmail.com. Or call 828-243-8076. And get ready for a great day on the links with the Reynolds Rockets.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
I'm Doug Brown. This just in, the Houston Texans have now reached settlements with 30 women who were ready to make claims against the team regarding allegations of sexual misconduct against Deshaun Watson, who's now with the Cleveland Browns. The terms of those settlements are being kept confidential. In the second round of the Open Championship at St. Andrews, Australia's Cameron Smith jumps into the lead at 13 under with a 64 today. Smith is 2 shots ahead of Cameron Young, 4 ahead of Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, and Victor Hovland. Among those who will miss the cut, Phil Mickelson at 5 over and Tiger Woods at 9 over.
Anytime you get the chance to come back and play the old course in the Open, it's just special. It really is. And the warmth and the ovation at 18, it got to me.
Tiger Woods wiping away tears during his walk up the 18th fairway. He shot a 75 today, and that could have been his last round in competition at St. Andrews, where he won the Open twice.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
Log on to ESPNABL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Friday edition of the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And yes, we are seen live everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on the live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat each and every day. Look, we like to throw things out there, questions of the day. For instance, today's 12 Bones question of the day is, what tight end would you start a franchise with? You're a number 1. If I'm starting a franchise, this is the guy I've got to have as my cornerstone piece at the tight end position.
And I'm just going to remind you that the way the question is asked, age matters. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
But today is the official open of something that I'm very excited about.
What is it?
It's the year of the tight end, baby!
Oh, gosh.
The tight end whisperer, baby. It's the year of the tight end.
Again?
This is the... No.
Last year was
the year of the high-end tight end. Now we just have a whole bounty of them.
Ah.
Just a slew of tight ends around the league.
So where last year it was constantly being beaten into your head by the tight end whisperer that if you were in a fantasy football draft, you need to get one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. It was Travis Kelce, it was George Kittle, and Darren Waller.
And now there's still a merit to that.
Now you're saying the depth at the position allows you not to do that?
Now I'm saying there is no deeper position in the NFL than tight end.
Okay.
We are officially, it is the golden, you only need 1. So it is the golden age of tight ends, baby!
All right, we're going to talk tight ends on the program today with the tight end whisperer, Mr. Jeremy Greene. I'm Tank Spencer, and of course, this is the Ingles Studio, always brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. Also, shout out to our friends over at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Look, I spent some of my afternoon going on a little joyride in my new car.
Usually, that would have irritated me a little bit. As I'm here, just
slaving away
to put a show together. You're out driving around, except I didn't show up till like 1:30 today.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to choose a day to joyride in your new car, which you got courtesy of our friends at Fred Anderson Nissan, and you being members of our family, they want you to be members of their family.
That's right.
They will give you $250 extra on your trade just for mentioning that you heard about them from us. They're our friends. They want to be your friends too. Fred Anderson Nissan, 629 Brevard Road in Asheville.
They gave me way more than they should have on my trade-in.
Which, if it was more than a Reese's bar and maybe a Red Bull.
Indeed. It was way more than that. They're going to treat you right over at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Be sure to tell them that Jeremy and I sent you, the boys at the Sportsocracy. Car broke down on Saturday of last weekend. Monday I went in there, and within, 2 hours? You got a brand new car. It's not brand new.
It's new to you.
It's new to me.
No muss, no fuss. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Exactly. Welcome, everybody, into the program. Not only are we going to talk tight ends today, but we're going to give you all of the pertinent updates coming from St. Andrews as the Open Championship continues, and Cameron Smith remains on top of the leaderboard at 13 under par.
Nothing would be more fitting in the year of the tight end for the championship golfer of the year to be a mulleted man.
Mm-hmm.
That just tells you it's the summer of Jeremy. This is as good as it gets.
Cameron Smith is the leader in the clubhouse, 13 under. Cameron Young in second place, 2 strokes behind him at 11 under par. And then in third place, just sitting pretty.
Just sitting there waiting for the weekend.
Waiting for the big moment that I really hope happens. Dustin Johnson.
And the thing you have to understand about Dustin Johnson, he got the absolute worst draw humanly possible.
Yes,
because he played late yesterday and early today, so he got all of the worst of this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
He's still only 4 shots back.
Right.
That tells me if I were a gambling man and I were to possibly make a wager on how this weekend's going to go, I would say Dustin Johnson's probably the best case scenario.
You got a trio of golfers tied for third place right now at 9 under par. Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, and Victor Hovland. But not only is Dustin Johnson in contention, but you've still got some other LIV guys who are right in that little area where they could make some noise. Now, you may say it's too soon for Taylor Gooch to do anything like that.
I wouldn't say so.
But
He's a good golfer.
I don't think so. He's 2 shots behind Dustin Johnson in 8th place, tied for 8th at 7 under par. And a new guy, at least to me, Sahith Theegala.
I'm not going to lie to you, that's who I'm rooting for. First of all, he is making it normal to wear a hoodie on a golf course, which I am so in favor of.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, he's a lot of fun to watch.
You still got Lee Westwood. He's 4 under par. I get that's several strokes behind the leader at 13 under par. But you've got LIV guys that are in contention this weekend. And gosh, I just want it to happen so bad. I want it to happen so bad. I know it's going to happen eventually.
Oh, no doubt.
Eventually, one of these LIV guys is going to win a major.
No doubt. And if I was to, based off, you can assume that I've watched, I can't say I've watched every second of the coverage because I wasn't getting up at 3 o'clock to turn it on.
Right.
I've watched pretty much every second that I've been awake. And the way this is almost predestined to be, I see a Rory, Dustin Johnson, with a little, side of the Camerons on the weekend. And it would be, to me, it's must-watch television.
Absolutely.
Plus, this is the greatest event in all of sports.
Of course, and when it's at St. Andrews,
it
makes it even better.
I don't care where it is. This is the greatest event, especially if you're a gambler, in all of sports.
The Open Championship?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt, unequivocally. Do you know why?
Why?
Because it's done at noon.
Oh, well.
This is the closest I ever came to winning a millionaire maker in DraftKings. Hideki Matsuyama.
Uh-huh.
Still a bad word around this show.
What was it? He threw up a 9 on the
8.
last round?
Threw up a snowman.
An 8.
Threw up a snowman. Now, I don't like Hideki Matsuyama, and I don't usually like snowmen.
Right.
Or snow or cold weather or anything like that. He ruined all kinds of things for me.
We will keep you up to date on everything going. Of course, the late tee-off guys, I mean, they're almost coming off the course right now.
Oh, we're almost done.
I mean, Rory McIlroy has, 3 holes left?
Correct.
Victor Hovland's got 4 left as far as the top of the leaderboard is concerned. So we'll keep you up to date on that throughout the program today. We're going to talk some college football as well. More
Dan
rumors.
Patrick just lit a firework, and he walked away.
More rumors going around about who could join the super conferences that are going in, and we're going to focus mainly on the SEC, but we got some Big Ten news as well to throw in there. All of your favorite segments, the outside, weird, we got crimes coming up at the 5 o'clock hour.
Oh, I have a tremendous crime story.
Along with today's daily draft, where we'll be drafting tight ends. Vote in the poll right now on the YouTube stream, because that will decide who gets the number 1 pick in today's draft.
Another one that was too close to call.
Yesterday's wide receiver draft class, obviously I come away with all of these, much like you do, Jeremy, feeling like I got the better of it, but it was very close.
Well, this time we actually split because you won the comments and I won the emotes.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he did that laughy face for Jeremy and a heart for Tank.
Because I tell jokes and he's the one with the heart. That's why I did that.
It's very true. Very true. We will continue our pre-training camp previews of each and every NFL team with the Baltimore Ravens and the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going all birds today here in the Sportsocracy as we do an AFC team and an NFC team each and every day. Training camps kicking off next week. We're almost there, folks.
So close.
Yes.
So close.
So today's, or I guess not today's, we're talking about it today, but this came out yesterday, the NFL execs tight end list, the top 10. We found something to nitpick with every one of these lists. Some are easier than others. Today's list, this is the first one where I'm really.
You have major qualms?
Well, it's not a major qualm. It's just I don't feel like George Kittle is the best tight end in the league.
That's the one you were upset about?
No. I'm just saying initially, I was expecting Travis Kelce. To me, it's been Travis Kelce. Apparently, George Kittle, this is the 3rd year in a row that he's been number 1 on this list.
Because he's the best all-around tight end.
Maybe I had the same qualm last year.
Well, I mean, there's two levels of thought here. One, if George Kittle is healthy, he's the best tight end in this league, and I don't think it's debatable.
Mm-hmm.
Second, he has more help around him. Now it's Travis Kelce and a bunch of dudes. He's like the California Raisins. There's the one that sings, and then everybody else is just going, ooh, in the background.
Right.
And I think that is going to have a little bit of a regression. Still a fantastic player. Mm-hmm. He's also older. So I get it. That was not my qualm with this list.
Now, that was just my first take, was I don't feel like George Kittle is the best in the league. I feel like it's Travis Kelce. I get the all-around thing. To some, we want you to do all of the things. When you're as good as Travis Kelce is, I don't care that he can't – not that he can't block, but
he's not as good at it as George Kittle.
Right.
That's not really a thing to me. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Of the top 5, you could have said any of them. And as the foremost authority on tight ends, at least in this studio,
right,
I would have been fine with it. I mean, I would have been it would have rubbed me a little bit the wrong way if it'd been Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. He's so much younger than everybody else. He's such a mismatch nightmare. Those top 5 are really good. But that's not the reason that it's the summer of tight ends. Baby!
You got George Kittle at 1, Travis Kelce at 2, Darren Waller 3, Mark Andrews 4, and Kyle Pitts at 5. Then they throw a curveball at 6 with Dallas Goedert.
That's where my qualm came in.
Dallas Goedert ahead of T.J. Hawkinson.
And Dalton Schultz. No Pat Freiermuth in the top 10, which is heresy. That's treason.
He's just not
That's
there
the
yet.
NFL equivalent of treason, not having Pat Freiermuth in the top 10.
Bad. He's just not there yet.
Disagree.
Really?
100%.
He is better than Dawson Knox? Is he better than Schultz? Is he better than Hawk? No. Go Dirte.
I want to.
Okay, so you have him at 7.
Correct.
Pat Freiermuth is the 7th best tight end in the league to you. Okay. I see the potential for that. I'm not certain that he's on the list just yet.
And after the break, I'll tell you why he should be.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Don't miss the Greater Smokies Card Show, July 16th at the Smoky Mountain Event Center. Find amazing sports and trading cards, collectibles, memorabilia, toys, and comics. Admission is just $5 for adults. Kids 12 and under are free. Greater Smokies Card Show, Saturday, July 16th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Smoky Mountain Event Center, 758 Crabtree Road in Waynesville. Vendors register today for only $40. Email greatersmokiescardshow@gmail.com. Presented by Lemons and Willow Event Management.
Looking good, Mrs. Dubs.
The head groundskeeper at Thad's Golf Course just retired.
We need to find someone in the next 2 weeks. Someone with botany and management experience.
He needs a replacement because the greens are already looking a little rough.
Water and aeration. They need to know it all.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Michael David from Seattle. I'm 51 years old, and 6 months ago, I started taking Andro 400 to increase my testosterone. Since then, I've lost 35 pounds of fat, and my waist went from size 38 to size 32. I have more energy, and I look and feel 20 years younger. And now my wife tells me I have to take Andro 400.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continued to take Andro 400 and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Andro 400, the natural way to increase testosterone, lose belly fat, gain energy, and feel great. Try Andro 400, the safe, effective, affordable way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Things are a bit tight lately. That's why I love Kohl's. I went back to school shopping and got kids' clothes for under $6, sneakers for less than $20, and an extra 20% off already great deals, like 25% off backpacks. And get this, you can save more with a Kohl's card and earn Kohl's Cash. Talk about more style and more savings. Select styles, 20% offer until July 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The Sportsocracy.
Let's open up the whole can of kick ass and kill them all. Let the paramedics sort them out.
And welcome back into the Ingles Studio here on ESPN Asheville. Check us out at thesportsocracy.com. Talking tight ends for the 2022 NFL season, which is less than 2 months away. We are 55 days away from the kickoff of the regular season.
Which is, doesn't it feel good to say that out loud?
It does.
That means 9 weeks from today, we will be talking about the kickoff of the season between the Los Angeles Rams and my 2023 Super Bowl champion Buffalo Bills.
Riding that train. I forgot about that. I
don't know how, because I say it at least 3 times a week.
I know you do. But you started in on the and I went, oh, is he going to go 2022 championship Buffalo Bills, or is he going to go 2027 New York Jets?
Well, I mean, that's a given. Best young team in the league.
Gosh.
No big deal.
No big deal. So why do you say this is the year of the tight end?
Because it's so deep. Tight end's been a wasteland for years when you got past the highest end guys. Now you get to somebody, and I'll just give you a name that you said in the first segment, Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is a fantastic football player. Good route runner. Hyper athletic. I could argue he doesn't belong in the top 10. I could argue that, and I don't think I would be that far off. I mean, because Mike Gesicki, Pat Freiermuth, Logan Thomas, who we haven't even mentioned yet, and is a phenomenal athlete. This position's really deep. And then you get into the next tier of the Jonnu Smiths and the Hunter Henrys, C.J. Uzomah, Jet. I'd be remiss if I didn't point him out. And even Noah Fant. Noah Fant's a great player. This is a good position. This is not the wasteland that it used to be. And the reason is because of guys like Pat Freiermuth. Years ago, he would not have been a tight end. Why? Because he's not a great blocker. Doesn't matter. He's a matchup nightmare. Can play in the slot, can play outside. I mean, he's been called Baby Gronk for a reason.
Right.
Because that's how you use him. All right, throw him out wide. Who cares that he can't block? Doesn't matter. I'm playing the numbers here. When I have a guy like that, you have got to pay attention to him.
Right.
That's what made Rob Gronkowski so unbelievable. Because he was huge. You throw him out there on a corner, he will eviscerate a corner every single time. So you got to have the safety over the top. What does that do? It opens up the running lane. Right. So the fact that he can't block doesn't matter because he's still doing what a tight end's supposed to do and change the numbers. It's one of the great movements in the NFL that has made offense so much more fun to watch and so much harder to play defense because what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do with a guy like Mike Gesicki?
It's almost to a point to me where they need to rename the position. Or there needs to be a separate position, like the slot end or something like that. For these guys that don't really do what traditional tight ends used to, because usually the tight end came in, he was an extra blocker most of the time, and he was a red zone threat, and that was it. Now
and you still have guys that do that.
Yeah,
George Kittle still does that.
Yeah, you do. But to me, I don't care. I don't care if you can do that or not. If you can be big enough and stretch the field like Darren Waller does, like Travis Kelce does, like Kyle Pitts, another one. I feel like we need a different name for half of these guys.
Well, I mean, here would be the problem. At this point, how many guys do you consider to be good blockers as tight ends? Kittle's one.
I was going to say a handful, maybe.
I will give you Dallas Goedert solely because I'm in a good mood.
Schultz.
Dalton
Schultz a good blocker?
Dalton Schultz is a good blocker. TJ Hawkinson is fine. I could argue every other name we've said is either below average or bad. But, as I said, you found a way to mitigate that. I don't have to line you up on the end of the line now. And that actually opens up something that you never had before. When you had that tight end in line, and I don't want to slight that play of the position because there are still guys that can do that. But when you had that guy in line, it was really hard to formulate the mismatch because you didn't know exactly what you were getting. So now you option that guy out. Wherever he goes, it tips off the defense. It's the same thing slot receivers used to do. But the difference between how you see it now and how you saw it in the past, you don't get a lot of mismatches with a 5'10 wide receiver that's just real shifty. There's several secondary members out here that can keep up with him. When I have a giant hulking tight end that you don't have anybody that can defend him one-on-one. Corner, too small. Safety, probably too small, maybe physical enough to actually keep up. Linebacker, not fast enough. That's the reason that I think it's now one of the most important positions in the league, and nobody talks about it. San Francisco 49ers. You know why I feel so good about Trey Lance? Because he has two of the great safety blankets in the league. I don't care how accurate you are. I'm going to manufacture touches to Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle's just going to win. I think you could be the quarterback for George Kittle, and it wouldn't matter. Or me or anybody. It wouldn't matter.
Right.
He is such an unbelievably diverse player that can do a litany of things. But I feel like the guys like Freiermuth get slighted because they don't do that. And you're just not seeing the forest for the trees. Yeah, he can't line up in line and be the road grader lead blocker. Do you want him to be? Honestly, do you want him to be?
No, because to me that takes his hands out of the game.
That's one. And two, you know what all of those guys I said that are legitimate blockers, you know what they all have in common?
What's that?
They get hurt a lot. You know who doesn't tend to get hurt a lot? Travis Kelce. That doesn't get asked to block anybody. Mark Andrews, who doesn't really get asked to block anybody.
Right.
I'll bring in a guy. The Baltimore Ravens have done this for years. We'll bring in a guy that can block. That's not a super skilled position at this point. What is skilled is you're big with good hands. You're a good enough route runner that you tip off defenses. And that's what I want. There's a reason. Look at the top 5. Outside of the Atlanta Falcons, every one of those teams is good. If you look at the rest of the top 10, almost every one of those teams is good. There's a reason for that. There's a reason that guys like Bill Belichick, and trust me, I love throwing shade at Bill. There's a reason that he has force-fed money and draft capital into this position because it's one of the few advantages that you still have. 3 receivers. How many teams in this league don't have 3 wide receivers that can beat you routinely? 5?
Yeah.
The New York Jets have 3 receivers that can beat you. The Detroit Lions have 3 receivers that can beat you. The Jacksonville Jaguars have 3 receivers that can beat you. But when I have this guy, it makes everybody else better. And it makes everything easier on the quarterback. Because now I don't need you to be Tom Brady. Think about Trevor Lawrence. They go get Evan Ingram, and everybody killed that signing because they gave him too much money. I never diminished what he can contribute. Because what does he do? He tips a defense every time he's on the field. Because he's going to move virtually every single time he's on the field. Makes it easier on your quarterback. And that's the name of the game. What can I do to make life easier on my quarterback? This league's easy for Pat Mahomes. It's easy for Tom Brady. There's a reason. Because they're outsmarting you and they have better physical athletes around you.
Yep.
And you look at the development of this position, where it is from 3 years ago, it's staggering how much more talent is playing the tight end position today than was 3 years ago.
TheSportsocracy.com is the website. Be sure to click on the live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. Angry Browns fan says David Njoku gets no love because of Baker Mayfield.
I like David Njoku.
I mean, he was a guy that I had high hopes for coming into the league. We just haven't seen it manifest yet. And I don't know if it's completely because of Baker Mayfield.
Baker doesn't help anything.
No, he doesn't. But it's also been he's never been the guy.
No.
Now he's being paid to be the guy because they went out and got Austin Hooper, and it was just back and forth between the two. I think he had like one good game last year.
He has 55 catches in 2 years. I mean, that's where the Njoku, I'm not going to say hate because I don't think it's hate. He just gets left out because we've never seen you do it.
But now that they're paying him over $50 million.
That's the other thing. He got the contract without having the depth of resume. And there are some people that look at that and go, that was an overpay.
Is that the Browns doing the Browns, or is that a smart coaching staff going, yeah, this is the guy?
I believe, and I can't, it's not like Kevin Stefanski called me and told me this, but this is where I would look at it based on what they have around him. They see Amari Cooper as the one. They think David Bell can be very competitive in the slot. They have high hopes for Donovan Peoples-Jones. What they look at is David Njoku, who is one of those move pieces that's just always a problem. He's big, he's fast, he's athletic, he's become a better blocker. And they said this is a player that we have not used correctly. And so they give him the money, and everybody sees that as an overpay. To them, it's not. To them, he's a very good player that is going to have a huge role in this offense. And I think it's a smart comment and a player that is overlooked in these discussions.
He did make the honorable mentions list of the top 10 that came out from the 50 anonymous execs and coaches that were polled by ESPN. So he did get some love in the list, but not top 10. I'm surprised he even got honorable mentions in a top 10 list. But that's
I'm not. He's one of those people that the scouts and people that just live watching tape love Njoku. And there's this myth that he has really bad hands. It's just not really true.
We got to take a quick break, but I want to get in the first I've seen of a fantasy football question so far this year. Bill Budacek in the YouTube stream says, all right, so for fantasy, Ian Thomas or Tommy Tremble?
Is neither an acceptable answer?
Thank you. I'm glad the tight end whisperer said it, because my response was going to be, don't do that.
Unless you're in a 24-team tight end premium lineup,
Right.
Neither.
Right. I mean,
a guy that we haven't even mentioned, Robert Tunyon, who now he's done enough things in the league. I will say his name the correct way.
I think he's going to get a resurgence this year.
I do too.
Because there's no Devontae Adams, and last year was a down year. He was hurt for a while last year. He came back, and I feel like he's going to be a good value this year at the tight end position in fantasy football. But Ian Thomas and Tommy Tremble have no value. Zero to me.
I'm not going to say zero. It's not fantasy football relevant,
right?
But it's. I think they're both good enough players, and they do different things that I think you will see them on Sundays every once in a while. It just won't be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, there's enough guys that are very consistent.
Bill says he feels like Ben McAdoo is going to run 2 tight end sets,
and he will.
And he will.
He did it in New York. He's done it widely across his time in this league. That won't surprise me. The problem is that you look at the receivers and go, okay, where in the pecking order do those two fall behind DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall, Shi Smith that nobody talks about that will be the 4 this year?
Oh, is he not suspended for doing crimes?
If he is, it'll be for an hour.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're at the bottom of the list. And you're never going to be able to tell who's going to get any. Like, Tommy Tremble is most used, or I guess most useful as a runner in fantasy football to me than he is as a pass catcher. This is not something I would ever bank on, and I wouldn't even roster those guys unless you're in one of these weird leagues where you have 30 guys on your team. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Yes, we'll take all of your fantasy football questions. I got 2 drafts coming up this weekend.
I apparently have one that I didn't know about until you told me about it earlier.
We're going to get just a bit outside after the break, and then we'll talk some college football expansion talks in the SEC.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild. Low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
With the PhD weight loss system, I have lost over 70 pounds. I hit my 70-pound mark officially last week, and the numbers on my scale continue to dwindle down. I'm getting better nutrition. I'm getting more exercise. My aches and pains have practically disappeared.
Over the long weekend, I played 2 rounds of golf. To most of you, that does not sound like an over-the-top amount of activity, but for me, before PhD, it would have been. My back would have hurt, but because I've lost so much weight, I'm in so much better shape, physical activity isn't wearing me out like it used to. I'm almost down to my target weight, and it's all thanks to the program and food of PhD Weight Loss.
The absolute all-star of the program, Dr. Ashley Lucas, has the plan to help you drop the pounds and hopefully change your habits so that you won't have to deal with that weight problem any longer. Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss, the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life."
I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub.
It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Greatest invention ever.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's.
Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker.
Reese's.
Reese's.
Reese's. Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
And while we're talking football here on ESPN Asheville, a report has come out. The Miami Herald's Barry Jackson says there are 3 teams that former New Orleans Saints coach Sean Payton has his eyes on returning to the sidelines for next season. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys are on the list. The Miami Herald reporter also says, of course, it's the Miami Dolphins, which is absolutely ridiculous.
That one just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, you just hired Mike McDaniel.
But there's been so much smoke there. That's one of those things that I look at and go, okay, why is this being floated so routinely?
Because it's a name. Because he's a name.
I got that with Sean Payton, but
franchise.
I got that with Sean Payton, but he doesn't need Miami. No. If there was no smoke there, you would not hear them attached to each other so often. I can't tell you what the smoke is. I mean, because think about it, it's all come since they hired McDaniel. And if you remember, that process was not as streamlined as everybody makes it seem like it was.
No, but there was a report that he was interested. There was, the report that Sean Payton and Tom Brady were in talks to come join the Miami Dolphins and all of that. But it makes no sense for them to go out and hire a guy. I don't know.
I'm not going to say it makes zero sense. Sean Payton's one of the best head coaches in the NFL over the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. If you don't have one of those, then yeah, it makes sense.
Well, that's kind of my thoughts with the last team that was mentioned. So you got the Dallas Cowboys, which makes total sense. Sean Payton on the record as saying that's his dream job in the NFL. I still believe that's where he's going to end up because, once again, Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys are going to underperform like they've done every year since he's been there. He will get fired, and Jerry Jones will back up the Brinks truck for Sean Payton. Miami, to me, doesn't make sense. Mike McDaniel is a good coach. You're not going to fire him after 1 year. But the last coach, it's a guy I really believe in and I talk about a lot, with the Los Angeles Chargers. Apparently there's interest from Sean Payton.
Of course there is.
Yeah, well, of course there is.
Of course there is. You have an unbelievably talented defense. You have one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. And just weapons galore.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not shocked Sean Payton looks at that and goes, yeah, let's do that. I want to do that.
Well, because it's the perfect Saints team. You've got all of these pieces on defense that are unbelievable with the addition of Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. You got Derwin James. You got Joey Bosa. Obviously, there are a lot of pieces there that are very similar to the structure that he had with the Saints.
And it's run by Joe Lombardi.
Right. You've got the do-it-all back, Alvin Kamara compared to Austin Eckler. You got wide receivers. And you've got the one thing that you didn't have when you quit the New Orleans Saints. You have a franchise quarterback, no doubt, in Justin Herbert. And that's the one that I look at and go, if they didn't make the playoffs this year, that might be it. Sean Payton's interested in us? Okay, Brandon, we love you, man, but you got to go.
There are going to be back-channel discussions with Sean Payton with a lot of teams.
I'm sure there will be. But the Dolphins I don't feel like that makes sense.
And I'll tell you straight up, it does.
It does.
You have the shot to get a Sean Payton, you take the opportunity.
You take your shot. Okay.
On this show, we often talk the NFL is king, but we don't always have the numbers to back that up because they only come out a few times a year. Well, one of them just came out, and it's the national revenue of the NFL for the 2021-2022 season. This is just national media rights, league sponsorships, and shared revenue. Guess that number. This has nothing to do on the team level. This has nothing to do with individual merchandise sales, things like that. Strictly media rights, league sponsorships, shared revenue. Guess that number.
$6 billion.
Well, you're halfway home. It's $11 billion.
Wow.
Also from Sportico, since the Apple TV Plus, everything has to have a plus. Can we stop a plus? Just one minus. One time. Just throw a minus in
Just one.
The top.
They did that. It was called CNN minus. And it shut down in days.
That's the first time you've done politics and done it in a funny way. I'm a big fan of that. They also put out television numbers. Of the 25 highest rated telecasts on television since the start of 2022. I need you to understand the regular season was over. So this is only playoff games and a few other little tidbits because there was actually 1 week of the regular season. How many of the top 25 were NFL telecasts?
17.
You're too low. It's 21.
Holy.
21 of the 25. How many NBA games are there?
Right.
Major League Baseball?
Nope.
You have one Beijing Olympics that was 9/11, which was led in by the Super Bowl. You could literally put a colonoscopy on after the Super Bowl, and it would rate in the top 25.
Right. You got the college football championship game.
College football title game was 17 between Georgia and Alabama, and the Final Four game between the North Carolina Tar Heels and Duke Blue Devils was number 25.
Of course.
And one State of the Union, which just looks so out of place on this list.
Well, it's the one thing that the older generation can all watch together. You don't have a lot of that on television anymore.
I mean, there's not much appointment television, and outside of the NFL, there is none.
Exactly. Everything else gets watched on streaming services or, binge watched on Netflix or whatever. We don't do live TV anymore. So it makes sense that sporting events are the top of the most watched programs together. Because I don't feel like there's a big market for watching recorded NFL games.
Well, and I would agree that has a role until I tell you the numbers. There have only been 18 telecasts that had over 20 million viewers. The AFC and NFC championship games had 47.8 and 50.2. That's not just appointment television. That's not, we're watching it because it's on. We're watching it because it's the NFL. So anybody that tells you, well, the NBA is right on the heels no, they're not. They're not even close. The NBA, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, anything else you want to say, they are fighting for the crumbs that the NFL leaves in the couch. That's it.
And they will continue to do so. As you've seen, I'll keep bringing this up, the NFL taking over Christmas. You got 3 Christmas games this year. Isn't that what we decided? 3 Christmas games this year,
which is
no longer belongs to the NBA.
It's so good.
Of course it is.
And you know what the NFL won't do? They won't put their players in some lame attempt at a Christmas sweater. Look, our jerseys are Christmas sweaters.
Go to NBA.com and buy them.
I feel like we should, though.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
Everybody wears ugly sweater jerseys on Christmas Day.
This is why the guy wearing a Captain America t-shirt is not in charge of fashion for anything. And you tuck that shirt into your sweatpants where it belongs, because that is how you do things.
And everybody's helmet has to look like Santa hats.
Stop talking.
You just pin Santa hats on
Are
top
you
of
just
it.
trying to make me angry at this
Of course
point?
I am. It's Friday.
I have too many things to throw at you now.
What will the SEC do? Apparently today on the Dan Patrick Show, there was some talk about the SEC wanting to expand, despite the fact that last week all the reports were sources close to the SEC said, we're done. We're good with 16. This is where we're going to stay. What's changed?
The reason that I wanted to talk about this is, so this was from, and Dan Patrick is notorious for doing this, of I don't break stories, but I have heard this thing, and he tends to be pretty accurate. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about it is it goes very much to something that I've been told, which is, you remember that gentleman's agreement they had in the SEC? That's done. Florida, you can keep out Florida and Miami, and South Carolina, you can keep out Clemson. That's over. Because what they're trying to do is lock down these states. You'll have all of the state of South Carolina. You would have all of the state of Florida. Apparently, they have more interest in Louisville and Georgia Tech than they would have in North Carolina, Duke, NC State, Wake Forest, because North Carolina is a state they're not in.
Right.
And they have a philosophy that my cohort here is actually proof positive of. Okay. Because what they believe is the 4 schools in North Carolina have so routinely not been great at college football that the vast majority of the state, we pull for Carolina in basketball. Who you pull for in college football?
Georgia Bulldogs.
There you go. Yeah. They believe you're not an anomaly. And that if they build this into a super conference, it will get even more drastic you're going to have to come to us. Mm-hmm. We don't have to do this with you. We don't have to take Wake Forest to get to North Carolina. We don't have to do that. So we'll insulate ourselves in the states that we're already in, and we will truly be the Southeast Conference.
Yeah.
Now, there's another layer of this that I could argue is actually more interesting because it's been the one hang-up of really sending us into chaos. And according to Dan, it's closer than you think.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles,
See you later, Dad.
all
Bye.
the ingredients for family.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Get ready for another wonderful summertime Saturday night in downtown Asheville. All the great picking, singing, and of course the dancing too. It's Shindig on the Green on Pack Squire's McGuire Green. Bring the whole family, the lawn chairs, the blankets, even picnic baskets. Welcome, 7 o'clock this Saturday evening in downtown Asheville. Shindig on the Green. And don't forget Shindig's sister event, the 95th Annual Mountain Dance and Folk Festival, coming to UNCA's Lipinski Auditorium August 4th, 5th, and 6th. For information on either event, go to folkheritage.org.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life."
I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub.
It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Greatest invention ever!
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
Make this the year you go to our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
iHeartRadio, let's go! Friday, September 23rd and Saturday the 24th.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
Buy your tickets now at AXS.com. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch to the network with more 5G bars in more places so you can experience your music whether you're streaming from home or from the front row. Plus, customers can get closer to the festival with VIP access. Only from the leader in 5G coverage. T-Mobile.
iHeartRadio wants to send you to Brooklyn to see two of the biggest comedians on the planet, Chris Rock and Kevin Hart, at their Rock Hard Only Headliners Allowed tour at Barclays Center, July 25th. We'll fly you there, put you up in a hotel, get your premium seats to the show, plus some merch from Chris and Kevin, and access to the pre-show VIP lounge for you and a guest. To win, just listen to 24/7 Comedy on the free iHeartRadio app, and you'll automatically be entered. Tickets on sale now at SeatGeek.com. Chris Rock and Kevin Hart, live in Brooklyn, New York, from iHeartRadio.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
That's right. It's the middle of the summer. We got baseball and golf and
don't worry, we're
NBA off-season stuff going on, but
we're going to talk about golf at the start of the next hour.
Of course. We got to update the Open Championship. We'll talk about Tiger Woods and how short his appearance in Scotland was.
And you saw something that should tell you everything you need to know.
Uh-huh.
But we've said with conference realignments in college football, there is one gigantic domino that really has to fall before any of the rest of this can happen.
Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Notre Dame's one big claim to fame is, well, we have the NBC deal. We don't have to join a conference. One small problem. This was a little trinket at the end of DP's sources say this is how things are going to go. Apparently, the Big Ten and NBC have been negotiating.
Really?
That NBC would get part of the Big Ten's TV media rights, and apparently Fox is okay with it.
Huh.
To the point of they thought this would get done around Memorial Day. It's still not done, but it's still being discussed. What does that tell you? That tells you NBC wants Notre Dame in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
They're the only one that matters. What Jack Swarbrick wants is less than irrelevant. It means less than what I think it should be.
So the TV deal, the television company, NBC, is going to call the shot on this, you think?
With Notre Dame?
Yeah.
They've called the shot for years. Because that's the one thing nobody else has. Nobody else has a deal. I mean, and you can give me Texas and the Longhorn Network. Tell me what channel that is on your television. If you know it, I'll give you $1.
$7.84.
17,406. Over under, Bob. Nobody knows.
Right.
Notre Dame has NBC. But NBC understands that now you're in an arms race. CBS is going to have all of the Saturday content that they want.
Mm-hmm.
CBS can run 3 back-to-back games, and you're never going to have Vanderbilt and Missouri. They can hide that on the SEC network as long as they want to. So they're looking at this going, all right, so we're going to have Notre Dame and Navy. Ooh, I'm sure that'll sell tremendously. Notre Dame and Stanford. Let's see that do a 1-4. I'm sure that'll be tremendous for us.
Mm-hmm. So they'll have Big Ten games to put on, and they'll move what? So will they do like the Notre Dame game as the opener to their Big Ten game of the week? Or
Notre Dame would still be in the 3:30 slot. That's never going to change.
Okay.
It's that 2:30, 3:30 slot that they just dominate.
Or will they get to the point where they can move the Notre Dame games off to NBC Sports Network?
Well, when I heard this, I went down the rabbit hole of how is Fox okay with this? Because Fox has not a stranglehold on the Big Ten. The Big Ten has a deal with ESPN. They have a deal with Fox. And so my question was, how are they okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
And there was one very simple answer. Because you're going to have way more teams that they don't have a deal on.
Right.
And they don't have enough inventory. I mean, Fox, yeah, you can have it on FS1. Woo, good for. Let's do that. Fox Sports Tacoma or whatever station you're going to put that on.
Right.
So they looked at it and went, how can we make our brand even bigger? Fox will still get the choice. Yeah, they're still going to get USC, Ohio State, Michigan. That's not going to change. But if you look down the lineup here, could NBC get Penn State, Notre Dame? Absolutely. Could NBC get, I don't know, Penn State and Wisconsin, which was tremendous last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. And if the Big Ten is looking at this going, we're going to get every asset that is not nailed to the ground, which is what I have heard. They're looking at every school they can possibly add. They did not have much of an interest in Oregon because of academics. So they're not going to add Florida, where you have.
Right.
What did the average Florida Gator get on their SATs? Drool. They're not adding that.
Right.
Sorry, there's not.
Right.
But would they be interested in North Carolina? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Would they be interested in a Duke, an NC State, a Wake Forest, which are all academic schools? Stanford. Yeah. They have an interest in all of that because it's extra inventory. And for
imagine
them,
all those smart schools. They should be in their own division within the Big Ten. Northwestern, Duke, Stanford.
What do you call that? The speed bump division? We're going to feed
in football,
you.
Yeah.
We're going to feed you to Ohio State once a year. Sorry.
It wouldn't hold the same in basketball, though. I mean, as long as Duke's in it.
I mean, other than Northwestern.
Right. I mean,
Northwestern writes articles really well.
Stanford's not
great. If it involves putting on a jersey, they're not so great at it.
Right. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville and the SEC. Are they good with 16 teams, or will they add more to box out all of these states? Add Clemson, add Louisville, Miami, Florida State. Would you say UCF was in this discussion as well?
That was a school that was mentioned.
And
they could just box out all of the states that they're already in. Now, I think you get to that point. Now you're almost damaging your product to me.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing Memphis in there, okay. I mean, look, I like Memphis. I got friends in Memphis that do great work. You're not an SEC team, okay? You're not a Big Ten team. You're barely an ACC team. So I don't think we're going that far.
Mm-hmm.
But do I see a path that they look at Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and that's what we really want? If we can pad that with a Georgia Tech where we get the Atlanta market, now we own the state of Georgia. High-end recruits in Georgia, if you've got both of them in the same conference, how many of those do you think you're going to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that don't get offered at Georgia, what are they going to do? Go to Georgia Tech. Because now I get the opportunity not only to play them once a year, now I'm in their conference and I can really make you regret that you didn't offer me.
You're in the Sportsocracy. Don't forget, we are going to talk about the Open Championship coming up at the top of the hour here after the Sports Center update. We've got pre-training camp previews as well coming your way over the next 2 hours. Baltimore Ravens, Atlanta Falcons, plus the daily draft at the top of the 5 o'clock hour where Jeremy and I will be drafting tight ends today. After doing quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, we're just going to do all the position groups in the daily draft.
And with polling, we still technically have an hour. I am willing to concede you are up 64-36. So I'm willing to concede the vote.
He wants to go ahead and concede just in case.
Well, because I don't want the voting to turn for one, and because I have a question. This is a live question that I want to ask at the start of the next hour.
Sports Center coming up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild. Low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's MVP's bonus days are here. Pro members can earn bonus points to redeem for rewards. And for 12 days, you can earn points on every dollar spent up to $1,000. MVP's Pro Rewards program subject to program terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/L/pro loyalty terms. Subject to change.
Real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son! Ice up! From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter. I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. All 30 of the potential legal claims against the Houston Texans are now settled. The settlements are confidential but relate to the allegations of sexual misconduct against Deshaun Watson while he played in Houston. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Chiefs and offensive lineman Orlando Brown Jr. won't reach a long-term contract extension. Brown will get almost $17 million this year under the franchise tag. Cameron Smith is the leader at the Open Championship, 13 under, 2 ahead of Cameron Young and 3 ahead of Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland. Fans paid tribute to Tiger Woods today, who misses the cut.
To me, it felt like that this might have been my last British Open here at St. Andrews, and the fans, the ovation and the warmth, it was an unbelievable feeling.
Phil Mickelson also misses the cut. Serena Williams plans to play in a tournament in Toronto in August. She was eliminated in the first round at Wimbledon for the second time in a row.
When you're trying to hire, all that searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed, the end-to-end hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
If you have
now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bank. That's bank. Enter it now.
Log on to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the Ingles studio here on ESPN Asheville, brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and you are you. And we're glad that you're listening along with us here on a Friday afternoon as we celebrate, well, everything. We celebrate everything right now because Tank's got a new car and everything's fine. Visit Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville today if you need a new car.
629 Brevard Road. They will give you $250 on top of your trade for just mentioning that you heard about them from us.
I'm just in so much of a better mood now that I know my life's not in danger anymore coming to work every day.
Well, I mean, it makes me feel a lot better about doing the show, knowing that I'm not going to get a call of you remember in the Flintstones when Fred's car just evaporated and he wound up scooting down the road on his Tuckus? Tank did that.
I know my new certified pre-owned vehicle from Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville will not be doing that at any time soon. I spent a good amount of time this afternoon just driving around. So much so that I was expecting to have a message on my phone from the bank saying, hey, your card got used 50 miles away. Did you know? Look, yeah, I know. I was out joyriding. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Now, we were talking about the Open Championship. That's the main thing we're celebrating, at least this weekend, because it's the last major of the golf year.
To me, this is the greatest weekend because you just get to wake up in the morning, watch a little golf. You know, I've got a whole weekend planned. Going to see Pauly Shore tomorrow night at Silverado's out in Black Mountain. That'll be fun. But I have a question before we get into this open.
Okay.
Before we get into the open.
Okay.
Are you a person that can eat by yourself? Like, can you go out to dinner by yourself?
Can I? Yes. Do I ever? No. Can I go and enjoy it? Probably not.
So that is the predicament that I face tonight. HWA is otherwise she's got a girls' night thing with her friends.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do with myself. Like, first of all, I have to feed myself, which that's going to be a problem because I'm not cooking for just me. So I'm going to have to find food. But do I want to, like, go to a bar and have a burger and have a couple beers? Or do I just want to order a pizza and sit in the living room and play video games? There's way less effort in the latter.
Of course. See, I'm a stay-at-home kind of guy. So.
I don't doubt that in the least.
I mean, especially if I'm by myself. I've done that before. Like, there was a period of my life where I lived in Memphis, and I was the only person I knew in town. Like, didn't have any friends, just moved out there for a job, and I would go out to dinner and sit at the Outback Steakhouse and have my meal and just feel like the sorriest loser on the planet.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That story made you, like, I wanted to come across the table and just give you a hug because that sounded sad.
I mean, when everybody you know either lives in North Carolina or South Carolina and you live way on the other side of Tennessee, it's kind of hard.
So that is not my conundrum.
No, it's not. But to me, it's the similar thing of, all right, I got nobody to hang out with, so maybe I should just go out to eat.
Well, I am well known to not necessarily always be the friendliest of people.
Shocker.
There is an exception to that. 3 beers in, Jeremy is friends with everybody.
Right.
Like, there are no strangers at that point. The only problem is the last time I did this, I did go out. I did go to have a burger by myself.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I knew, I had to Uber home because the shot everybody thing started happening.
Right.
And the next thing I knew, now my whole tomorrow is ruined.
Right.
And we've got the Open to watch, and we've got all the things.
I would say if you're planning on getting up early in the morning,
which I am,
to watch the Open Championship, then you probably should not go out.
I'm supposed to not only get up to watch the Open, I am also supposed to be on a golf course tomorrow.
Oh, well, yeah, then I would say stay at home.
And see,
get your rest.
I feel like I'm having a conversation right now with 16 hours from now me that's going, order a pizza, okay? Little video games. In your underoos. Have a good night. Enjoy to tomorrow.
To me, that's heaven.
That's the smart way, and I know that. As Evan Doyle said, it's Friday. All right? I don't want to just sit at home on a Friday.
But this is also coming from somebody who, if I ever get a moment to myself of the kids are at mom and dad's house and the wife has a girls' night, that's all I want to do is just be with me. Because every other second I have to be husband or I have to be dad or
why is every word coming out of your mouth making me just feel sad for you?
Why?
Like, I don't want to go do friend things. I want to sit in my living room in the dark.
100%.
Yell at clouds.
100%. You shouldn't feel. I know exactly. Don't cry for me, Argentina.
I know exactly how this is going to go, and it's going to lead to me being in 90-degree heat, wearing a shirt that is soaked through multiple times.
Just hungover.
Just hating, yelling at squirrels. Hit a golf ball in the woods. Just, go away, squirrel! Stop looking at my ball and stop looking at me.
It's because they all know what you did to that one a couple of years ago.
I had somebody on a golf course walk up to me and ask me if that story was true. I said, yeah, it's 100% true. And we were on the golf course where I did it. I was like, yeah, it was on 14, right there.
If you have not heard the story, Jeremy teed off and hit a squirrel and killed it. His ball laying in the cratered face of the squirrel.
No, it was down from the squirrel a few feet, but The squirrel was still on all fours and it was still blinking, and I found that to be very strange.
I just have this image in my head of like this very Looney Tunes type of a scenario where the ball buries in the ground and all you can see of the squirrel is just its arms and legs flailing up from behind the ball.
No, he was on all fours just going,
I'm dead. Can't.
Like,
dead.
I'd move, but I can't.
So the question on the poll right now on the YouTube stream, go to thesportsocracy.com, click on the live video link, hit the subscribe button so you can join us in the chat. Best way to get all of your questions, all of your comments addressed here on the program. The question right now, can you go out by yourself and enjoy yourself? And I'm kind of shocked. We got 77% of the people say yes, I can go out and enjoy myself. I mean, I can enjoy being alone, but I would prefer to be alone by myself. It's like that George Thorogood song. I drink alone, all by myself.
At home.
At home.
Yeah, they left out a phrase for you.
At home with Tank Spencer. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, and the Open Championship is the final major of the golf season, and it's being held at the most historic of courses, St. Andrews.
To crown the championship golfer of 2022.
All of the contenders right now are in the clubhouse. There are still a few guys left on the course, but the one closest to contention that's still on the course right now is Dylan Fratelli, who is 35th place and 10 strokes back.
But I will say, going into tomorrow, you're going to have a very star-studded leaderboard.
Mm-hmm. You got Cameron Smith and Cameron Young at the top of the leaderboard. Smith has a 2-stroke lead on Young at 13 under par. You got Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson all sitting there in the top 5 right now.
And within striking distance, you have Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Matt Fitzpatrick, who just won the U.S. Open. This is going to be a fun weekend. I mean, really, regardless of what happens, you're not going to run into somebody's running away with this golf tournament. I don't think it's going to happen. And based on how it's laid out with no rain, I mean, Rory McIlroy hit a drive earlier that was almost 400 yards. Because he hit one in the middle of the fairway and it just ran out.
Right.
555-yard par 5. He hit a pitching wedge in.
Because it's rained, what, one time in Scotland?
43 days, I think is what I heard earlier.
So, I mean, the fairways are hard as a rock.
Oh, I mean, it's like playing in a parking lot. That's the best way I can equate it. I've played on a golf course like this, where you haven't seen rain in forever. I mean, and this is in Scotland, so this is completely different. It's even firmer than what I'm talking about. But you can't get anything to stop. If you're long off the tee, you're about to be freakishly long off the tee. And so you're going to see a lot of scoring. You know, I said before this tournament started, I think 24 under may be what wins it. That may be the number that you're looking for.
Wow.
And I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe I'm wrong. We've seen a couple of 64s, which is insane. And you may very well have seen the last ride of Tiger Woods.
Which is unfortunate, but I feel like we should have all expected to see this happen. But the question comes into play. How much do you still believe? How much do you still believe that he can get it done? There were a lot of people that were counting him out. Oh, he'll never win another major. And then he ends up winning the Masters 2 years ago.
And there's a little bit of a difference here. And to me, it's blatantly obvious. After the break, we'll talk about what that is.
Very emotional scene today as Tiger Woods walked off the green or the course at St. Andrews. Is this the last time? You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is stop and go near East Flat Rock, 26 westbound between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector. An incident near Holbert Cove Road causing delays. Again, 26 westbound is slow between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 on the eastbound side, delays between Bavard Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound slow between the 26-240 split and George's Branch Road. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Fletcher, Hendersonville Road, north and southbound, near Fanning Bridge Road, delays. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road northbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Again, Boulevard Road northbound slow, approaching Clayton Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Let me hit you with some good news here. I got on my scale this morning, and it said 219 pounds. I am just going crazy over the PhD weight loss program because the pounds continue to fall off. We've been on this program since just before Thanksgiving, and I have lost over 70 pounds. I walked in at 295. It is absolutely blowing my mind.
Tank is quickly approaching light heavyweight status in the UFC, and I'm getting to exactly where I want to be. One of my biggest problems was that I couldn't sleep. I'd gotten so heavy, sleep apnea was wearing on me. And now with the weight that I've lost, I'm back to my high school weight, and I'm sleeping like a baby, and it's thanks to the plan and the food at PhD Weight Loss.
Nutrition is the key to fat loss. 80% of the work comes from changing your nutrition, and PhD has the plan. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. PhD Weight Loss is the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life."
I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub.
It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
Greatest invention ever.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville, or call them at 828-365-1663.
The Sportsocracy.
We're just dumber than a bag of hammers.
And we're just hanging out here on a Friday afternoon in the Ingles Studio on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, and everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. See us as well on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can join us in the chat each and every day. The Open Championship. We've got a loaded leaderboard. We've got LIV guys in contention, so the drama throughout the weekend should be pretty thick. The problem is, look, it hasn't gone really well for the PGA when Tiger Woods is not competitive. And I think we're at the moment where the PGA now has to not only look at the LIV situation and go, okay, we're not doing ourselves any favors here. I feel like we're losing audience. Not necessarily losing audience, but we're at least making things dramatic with the LIV stuff and our hardline stance against them. And now we may never have Tiger Woods again.
It's done. It's done. This is officially play taps, throw the dirt. It's done. He's 46 years old.
Mm-hmm. Today he was crying as he walked up to the 18th at St. Andrews.
And I think there's more to that than I'm never going to play at St. Andrews again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what that was. I think that was Tiger having a moment with himself going, I'm never going to be competitive again.
Right.
After the wreck, after all of the things that have happened, I'm curious to see how close you can get on this.
Okay.
Since 2009, how many times has Tiger Woods won on tour? And now just remember, he was Player of the Year in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not – that seems like long ago. It's not as long as you think.
7.
It's 10. And 5 of them were in the same year.
Wow.
He's won twice in almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, one of them was a major. Yes, he is still fun to watch. But at the end of the day, this is over.
Mm-hmm.
The beating that this poor man's body has taken is unlike anything I think I've ever seen. The fact that he can still walk a golf course is borderline insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a couple cuts, made the cut at the Masters, made the cut at the PGA, and then had to withdraw because he just physically couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you saw out of Tiger Woods. He knows this is done. It's done.
He had 4 birdies in 2 rounds at St. Andrews in this Open Championship, currently tied for 148th on the leaderboard. It was not a good outing. He knows it, and he said it after his round today, that this is probably the last time, definitely the last time he's going to play in the Open Championship at St. Andrews.
Well, and I'm not so sure that that's true. I can see a path where he still plays the majors and he's just not competitive.
Right.
Now, the question is, how long will he do
that?
And that's the question, is how long will he do that?
Right.
And that's what I saw. As he's wiping tears away coming up the 18th fairway, I think he knows. As time goes on, there's not going to be this percentage that thinks I can do this. And above all else, I don't think he thinks he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't good. And the swing doesn't look right. And you just have to admit to yourself, he's a 46-year-old guy.
Mm-hmm.
How many 46-year-old competitive golfers do you see on tour right now?
Is he a guy that would do that would show up at the biggest events just to tip his cap and play the ceremonial round, basically? Or the first 2 rounds, I guess. Not make the cut and just be there as a face. I don't see that coming from Tiger Woods.
He doesn't strike me as the Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player type where he's going to be out there when he's 80 hitting the ceremonial drive. That's not Tiger is one of the most competitive people that's ever lived. And to me, this has been a culmination. And I'm going to say something that's going to be maybe a little spicy.
Okay.
The greatest golfer that ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the spicy part.
No.
Do you realize how much better it could have actually been? Do you realize how much better it could have been if you didn't have all of the other things?
Oh, if you didn't have the car wreck and not this
car
wreck, but the one where he...
That was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
He was 34 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You missed 4 years, basically, right in the heart of his prime. He won 3 events in that entire span.
Yep.
It could have even been better than it was.
And
he's still done things that nobody's going to touch.
That's what, Thanksgiving Day, wasn't it?
I think it was Thanksgiving night.
Yeah. I just remember being with the family and watching that and going, oh, wow. And then we had all of the ancillary that came around it, the Waffle House or the Perkins. Yeah, the Perkins waitress and all of that. Yeah. You're right. It could have been better.
It could have. Do you know how many wins he had total?
No.
If you just take the PGA, he had 81.
Mm-hmm.
If you take all of the tours, it was 110. 82. Sorry, I apologize. He tied for most all time. 82 on the tour.
Yeah.
He had 110 wins. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That is insanity. These are things that will never be touched. He has the 3rd most wins all time on the European tour.
That's crazy.
He played less than 200 events on that tour.
Mm-hmm.
He's 3rd all time in wins. And I think at some point you just have to get to the enjoy it for what it was, but at some point we've got to let this guy go. You've just got to let him walk off into the sunset. He can barely walk.
Right. There are people that will never let it go. There are people that will still believe as long as Tiger Woods shows up to events, there are still going to be people that believe that he's got it in him, that he'll be able to pull that, that Phil Mickelson at 50 years old mysteriously up and wins a major.
And the difference now is that I physically don't think the body will allow him to.
Maybe it won't.
He had the back issues. He's had knee issues. He had all kinds of issues.
Mm-hmm. Almost lost the leg in the car crash.
And
it was
and
a
that's
win.
the point.
It was a win for him to come back and compete in the first place.
Absolutely. There was a time that they were talking about amputating his leg.
Mm-hmm.
They at one point told him, there's a chance you're never going to walk again, let alone swing a driver. But you just got to get to the point of this is done.
Yeah.
For his own sake, if for nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Now, I could fully see Tiger Woods moving into the broadcast booth for major championships.
I don't
something
see
like
any of
that. You don't think so?
Tiger's one of those, and there are certain. Him and Michael Jordan is to me the greatest comparison.
Okay.
The only reason you see Michael now is because he bought a team.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger's not doing that. He's got $1 billion. He's got more money than he can spend in 5 lifetimes.
You couldn't see him doing like the Peyton Manning thing?
No, God, no. Oh, good Lord, no. First of all, he doesn't have the personality for that. He just doesn't. Mm-hmm. And I got news for you. Michael Jordan doesn't either. A lot of the greats, they don't. That's not what you do.
Right.
My hope is that he just walks away. It doesn't have to be a production. It doesn't have to be a scene. It doesn't have to be a spectacle. Just walk away. Because I feel like I saw enough pain on his face throughout, because I've watched him for 2 solid days now. And there were times that he would hit shots and just go, I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't make that shot. He had one, and I don't remember what hole it was on, but he was about 230 out. And he pulls out the iron, and it's not even close because he put everything he had into it and poured it right. And you could just see. This would be like Michael Jordan coming to the point where he couldn't hit a 15-foot jumper anymore.
Right.
And he just knows, like, no matter how many times I do it, will it go through every once in a while? Yeah. But the consistency's never going to be there. Ever. And it was, for me, it was hard to watch, but I had it was almost cathartic to watch him coming up the 18th green going, this is the end.
Mm-hmm.
And we will never see anything else like it.
No.
I mean, who's the most consistent golfer on the tour right now?
I wanted to say Rory, maybe?
Rory's up there. He's not the one I would have said. There are 2 answers here for me.
Okay.
Scotty Scheffler's one, Xander Schauffele's the other.
Okay.
They're not 10% of what Tiger was.
No.
And you're never going to see that again.
Maybe.
You just have to understand. You have to understand.
Maybe.
And this is one of the things that I've said about the PGA Tour. Of you're so adversarial with the LIV. You've done a very bad job, in my opinion, of manufacturing stars. Scotty Scheffler's a star, but he's not a Tiger star.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like. Tiger brought in your mom or your daughter or your young children or whatever, however you want to phrase this. People that couldn't care less about golf. They'd stop. My mom would stop on golf. Tiger's leading at 18. Mom would stop and watch it. She couldn't care less about golf. But she had a vested interest in Tiger. She knew who Tiger was. She knew the story. She knew all of the things. Do you know anything like that about anybody that plays on this tour now?
No.
That's the problem. That right there is the problem. And that's all I could think about watching him with wiping tears out of his eyes. Are we ever going to have an emotional attachment to a golfer like this ever again? And I have to say the answer is probably no. And I don't trust the PGA to make that no a yes.
I will never say never. I will never say there will never be another one like it or another guy who captivates the sport. Maybe not to the level that Tiger Woods did, but we said the same thing after Jordan.
And you haven't had anybody that's captivated you like Jordan.
I completely disagree with that. LeBron James is the closest thing we will ever get to having a Michael Jordan again.
I would say Kobe was closer than LeBron, and the sole reason for that is that LeBron's got to such a point of it was just sheer hatred.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a poll out today of who do you want to see win another title? LeBron got 3% of the vote. John Daly was in that poll.
Oh, stop that.
That's how people feel. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is even Tiger, with all of the things he went through, he gave you plenty of reasons to not like him.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't want to like him, he gave you plenty of reason. And you know what's weird? You don't hear a lot of negative about him. You watch it today, and it's just, all of us, all sports fans, looked at this and just with almost a sadness.
Oh yeah,
of it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you're ever going to have that again.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Coming up after the break, we'll get weird, and we'll talk Baltimore Ravens prospects for 2022.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild. Low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling near East Flat Rock, 26 westbound between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector. An incident near Holbert Cove Road. Also onlooker delays on the eastbound side here. 26 westbound, stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slows between the French Broad River to approaching Airport Road. 40 westbound delays between the 26-240 split, Malfunction Junction, and George's Branch Road. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Again, Sweeten Creek Road southbound in the Arden area, approaching Hendersonville Road, delays. On Brevard Road northbound, traffic is stop and go approaching Clayton Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway near the NC Arboretum. I'm Lee Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Right now, Crayola 24-count crayons and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. Plus, 1-inch binders are only $1.99. In-store only. Offer ends 7/16. Limit 30. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples.
Wonderful product. I've lost 111 pounds using that product. 111 pounds. You could not believe the difference. I went from a size 48 pant to a 33 pant. And I've maintained that now for over almost a year now. Yeah, absolutely. Andro 400 has helped me lose 111 pounds, and I've maintained my weight for almost a year now.
Thanks, James, for that inspiring testimony and 111 good reasons to choose Andro 400. The most effective and natural way to lose belly fat, increase libido, gain energy, strength, and muscle while safely boosting your testosterone levels. So, guys, how many reasons do you need for trying Andro 400? Well, here are 2 more great reasons. Order now and get free shipping plus an additional $6 off when you use the code SAVE6. That's SAVE6. Call 888-400-0435, 888-400-0435, or go to andro400.com. andro400.com.
Things are a bit tight lately. That's why I love Kohl's. I went back to school shopping and got kids' clothes for under $6. Sneakers for less than $20, and an extra 20% off already great deals, like 25% off backpacks. And get this, you can save more with a Kohl's card and earn Kohl's Cash. Talk about more style and more savings. Select styles, 20% off ends July 24th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's account for details.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Jeremy, earlier this week when we did Weird News, you had a Bigfoot story, didn't you?
A Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
We had a Sasquatch story.
That's right. It was, what was it? Some guy killed another guy because he
killed.
thought
It was a noodler in Oklahoma that killed his noodler partner. because he thought he had summoned Sam Squanch to end him.
Well, as we all know, living here in the mountains of western North Carolina, the Bigfoot is quite the myth around here, especially out in McDowell County.
It's not a myth.
It's not a myth. You think he's real? You think the Bigfoot is real?
Sasquatch is more real than birds are. That's all I'm going to say.
I have to ask this question then. Why is it that we don't have physical, undeniable proof that a Bigfoot exists?
Because people are too worried taking pictures of themselves for their own Instagrams.
No, that's not it. You've had all of these people that go out Bigfoot hunting, and nobody's ever been able to come up with definitive evidence that the missing link or this ape-like creature actually exists. Well, there's one guy that has a theory. And you can check this out if you so decide on the Discovery Channel or the Discovery Plus app.
Of course, it's a plus.
There's a documentary out called Paranormal Declassified, Tracking Bigfoot. And in it, this guy who claims to be an expert on the Bigfoot, he has a theory of why we don't have any physical, actual, no doubt proof that there is a Bigfoot. Because he says that he believes that it is an interdimensional character. That the Bigfoot can actually travel to other dimensions on a whim to protect himself.
Well, that person is clearly crazy.
I don't know. To me, it sounds like the most plausible story I've ever heard.
That person is clearly crazy. Anytime you start talking about multi-dimensional, universal, out. Seacrest out.
Just Seacrest out. Completely out. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's as believable as there is some ape-like creature, roaming around in various places. I mean, from the Northwest to here in the mountains of western North Carolina to the Ozarks. Bigfoot has been seen everywhere in these rural places, but nobody has any definitive footage of the Bigfoot existing. And so Stan Gordon, who is a paranormal investigator, says he believes that the Bigfoot is an interdimensional creature, something far beyond our scientific understanding, that can, once he knows he's been spotted or there's been a fuzzy picture taken of him, he can jump to another dimension.
And that person is stupid. Hashtag birds aren't real.
Hey, you're not on a Discovery Paranormal Uncover the Truth About Bigfoot documentary. So, I mean, he's got that going for him.
That's only because I am not crazy enough to take my cereal box and my headphones and go, this is a Sam Squanch. It's a signal.
Lulu. I love your Bigfoot
It's my Sasquatch call. My story is from Atlanta, Georgia, and it's about a man named Jeffrey Merriweather, who unfortunately passed away. He was last seen alive on June 12th, 2019, riding in an SUV when someone opened fire.
Oh, no.
They did not find his body for 10 days, and by the time they found it, he was near skeleton, weighing only 34 pounds. So the medical examiner's office could not determine a cause of death. So they decided they were going to do, as you do, consult a bigger city agency medical examiner.
I was going to say the bullet hole didn't tip him off.
Skeletal. Didn't hit anything. So it didn't hit a bone. So they feel like they know what happened because there is a suspect that they feel like they know he did it, but they can't prove it. So they decided to send his body to St. Louis. They sent it FedEx.
What?
First of all, don't do that. Don't do that. There is only one agency that is capable of shipping human remains. It's the Postal Service. I know that because I worked for the Postal Service, but I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
So they shipped Mr. Merriweather to St. Louis. He was shipped from a depot in Austell, Georgia on July 5th, 2019.
Okay.
Never to be seen or heard from again.
Oh, he got lost in the mail?
They lost Jeffrey Merriweather in the mail. That is a horrid story.
That is.
And apparently now FedEx and different state reps are saying, well, you don't send bodies that way. You send them through either the Postal Service or through a funeral director. Yeah. And so now this has been a huge back and forth with lawsuits and different things.
See, that's how I thought that was always done.
So I read this story, and I had a flashback to something that happened to I used to work at Postal Service. I worked for the Postal Service for several years. I did not know that people sent human remains through the mail. And so, unfortunately, there was a soldier that was killed that lived on my route at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent home the Foot Locker, and there was a big sticker that said, human remains inside.
Okay.
This is how stupid Jeremy can be. I thought his body was in the trunk. And I was mortified. I was already threatening to go home. I was threatening to quit. Just, no, I will not do that.
So you thought he was like folded up inside the Foot Locker?
Yeah, because you know why? Because I'm an idiot. Because you see how stupid that sounds when you say it out loud? Took 2 hours before somebody went, hey, dummy, there's an urn in there. And as soon as they said it, I went, well, that does make a lot more sense now, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah, that's literally one of the most mortified. Not a lot scares me. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't want to encounter. Like I don't want to be in a dark alley with a raccoon or a squirrel or a series of birds.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot. Death mortifies me. I see people that work in funeral homes. I actually know a guy that owns a funeral home. I don't understand how you do that every day and it not mess with your head. That is probably the most mortified I have ever been in my life. And I read this story and had flashbacks of, just call the funeral home. That's what they do.
Exactly. Don't be creepy. Don't do weird things. It's not crimes, but it should be. It's not.
Okay. Just, okay.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. It is a Friday, and yes, we are having a lot of fun. Jonathan Welch, Jason Trump in the comments says you could tell it's a Friday, and the third hour is going to be fun. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, because we are going to do the daily draft at the top of the third hour. So at 5 o'clock, we will do the daily draft where Jeremy and I will be choosing tight ends that we would start a franchise with. We'll also have your crime story. We'll have the Atlanta Falcons training camp preview. But right now, it's time to talk about my 2022 Super Bowl champion, Baltimore Ravens. That's right. Yeah. Beginning when we did our initial, what? I can't do that?
You didn't do it right.
I'm sorry.
You didn't do it right.
Did I not get gravelly enough in the voice? Or
no, that's my thing. You come up with your own thing.
I have chosen the Baltimore Ravens as my favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. I feel like with a healthy team, this is going to be the year that Lamar Jackson finally gets his due and cashes in his $1 billion contract. Because I don't think they're gonna settle on a contract before this season. If he wins the Super Bowl, all bets are off on what that number is going to be.
It's one of the hardest evaluations in all the league. And I'll tell you why it's hard for me. I've heard comparisons to Kyler Murray. I've heard comparisons to Jalen Hurts. He's better than all of those guys.
Of course he is.
See, you say of course.
Mm-hmm.
I would say of course. Not everybody universally believes that. And I think there's only one reason that I can attach to why.
Okay.
He's not as inaccurate as everybody makes him out to be. Now, is he taking, great shots down the field? And no. But the fact that no high-end wide receiver wants to play with him, I think that's held against him. You just think about how often there have been high-end receivers that move. Is there a team in the NFL that needs a wide receiver more than the Baltimore Ravens?
No. Maybe the New England Patriots.
And I would agree with you.
Right.
I like Rashad Bateman a lot. I like a slew of guys on this team a lot.
But as the one?
But they're much like my dating record before I met HWA. There's a lot of fours here. So I don't see the guy. And I feel like that's held against him. Then you look at how Tyler Huntley did in his absence. Tyler Huntley's not a special quarterback.
Mm-mm.
He's a great backup to Lamar. And I think all of those things are held against him. What does Baltimore not do well? Like if you look at them and go, they have a huge deficiency in blank.
pass catching, probably.
That's it.
Right.
That's the only thing. Because the only thing on this team that I wouldn't put them in the top 10 of the NFL in, edge rushers, you're 4 deep.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive linemen, you're 7 deep of usable players. Probably the best secondary in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, I don't know who is.
So linebacker?
And I look at linebacker and go, you're fine. I think you're fine. With what you're now going to get out of Kyle Hamilton, who can play in the box and do all of those things, I don't have a reservation about anything on this team.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, they get slighted constantly. And I don't know why. I don't know why in the NFL we can progress through everything.
Because
we talked about this in the first hour. Tight ends now, in large part, they're not very good blockers. That would have been unheard of 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why can we not get to the point that, yes, it's a spread it out, throw the ball all over the yard offense, but what does that mean? That means every defense has gotten smaller. You're playing more nickel than you've ever played before, which means you have 5 secondary guys on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the error in me going big and just running it down your throat? Lamar can still hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does he hurt you more with his legs than he does with his arm? Of course he does. It's just a different way of playing the game. I heard him compared to Colin Kaepernick earlier, which is the most laughably stupid thing I think I've ever heard. The only similarity between those two quarterbacks, they have the same offensive coordinator, Greg Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, end of message. Repeat the line. Thank you so much for giving me an addendum onto that I will use for the rest of my life.
Lamar Jackson, he gets pooed upon because I think it's just the cool thing to do.
And I don't understand why.
Because we all started it. When he got drafted, the joke was, oh, he's a running back. He's not a quarterback. And then he does so much with his legs and not a whole lot with his arm, or at least did in his early seasons. And everybody gleans over the fact that he threw, 39 touchdown passes?
36.
36
in
touchdown
2019.
passes in the MVP season.
He threw too many interceptions last year.
But it's because he's so hard to game plan against.
And that's what I just don't think. The NFL is not baseball. All right, we don't get beholden to stats the way that baseball fans do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things I've always loved about this league. But I feel like Lamar Jackson does catch the flack for that because he hangs right around 3,000 passing yards every single year. Well, here's the thing. Last year, he only played in 12 games, and he was hurt in one of those 12.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for 2,800 yards, almost 2,900.
Mm-hmm.
If he'd have played every game, if he'd played the other 5, he'd have been floating right around 4,000 and would have rushed for 1,000 yards. Well, that's 5,000 yards of total offense. You know who else does that? Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, and they get none of this shade. And to me, what this does is this makes Baltimore the greatest value proposition in all of gambling right now. There is nothing you can do, whether it be table games, sports betting, flipping a coin, where you're getting better odds than you're getting on the Baltimore Ravens compared to what it should be. To me, this is one of the 4 most talented teams in the league. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
I don't even really think it's debatable.
No.
Like, that's the thing. I don't see what are you picking apart here?
The fact that we are the fantasy football generation and you don't have a superstar wide receiver. You don't have even, to me, a star wide receiver.
I think Rashad Bateman's going to prove you wrong on that this year. I really do.
And I have all the faith that he can. But what I'm saying is right now, you've got him and Devin Duvernay and James Proche and
Duvernay's the over the top.
And
Duvernay's the over the top speed burner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I'm not convinced that they're not going to make some form of move at wide receiver. What that is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. In our YouTube comments, Rob Johnson said Lamar chokes in the playoffs. Does he though? Does he really?
No,
the last time we saw him in the playoffs, he went to Buffalo, and yeah, they got smoked. You know why they got smoked? Because that Buffalo team was better than them.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's not a choke. I mean, I've watched a lot of quarterbacks that love to choke in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Packer fans. I've seen choking quarterbacks. I've never looked at a quarterback who lost to a team that is better than them and gone, well, you choked.
The fact that this year cannot go as poorly as last year did injury-wise for the Baltimore Ravens, I just don't think it's statistically possible.
Well, they were dead.
Right.
And they were killed.
And that's the reason that I have them as my favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time for something to chew on with Caleb Peak.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Delays on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, 240 west and eastbound near East Flat Rock, 26 westbound crawling between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector. An incident near Holbert Cove Road. Onlooker delay has the eastbound side here also slow. 26 on the westbound side, again a bit slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between Bavard Road and Airport Road in patches. 40 westbound delays between the 26-240 split and Smoky Park Highway. 40 westbound again slow between Georges Branch Road and NC 215. Light delays 40 eastbound between NC 215 and Georges Branch Road. On Bavard Road northbound, traffic is stop and go between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road, delays. Hendersonville Road southbound near Fletcher approaching Fanning Bridge Road, delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Right now, Crayola 24-count crayons and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. Plus, 1-inch binders are only $1.99. In-store only. Offer ends 7/16. Limit 30. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? Quality oil like Valvoline Full Synthetic can help you get more out of every mile. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99. Got an older vehicle? Try Valvoline Full Synthetic High Mileage options. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Choosing Sides, F1, a podcast about... What are we doing here, Lily?
Well, you're in the right place, Michael. I'm Lily Herman, Formula One expert.
And I'm Michael Costa, comedian, and I'm just going to be honest here, complete F1 newbie.
On this inaugural season of Choosing Sides, we're tackling the historic and controversial sport of Formula One race car driving.
Who are these drivers? Rich kid? Daddy issues.
Daddy issues galore. Listen to Choosing Sides F1 on the iHeartRadio app.
Or wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, this is Josh Howard with TP Howard's Plumbing. There's nothing worse than a plumbing emergency. We need plumbers, helpers, utility foremen, laborers, and operators. Full benefits included. Call TP Howard's Plumbing at 628-1369. That's 628-1369. Equal opportunity employer.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Heels. Racing. Pull up 3. No good. Rebound Carolina. And the fairy tale ride for the Tar Heels continues.
And what a ride it was for last year's edition of Tar Heel basketball. From a team searching for an identity early in the season to an afterthought by the end of the ACC slate to a legendary NCAA tournament run worthy of an appearance on So You Think You Can Dance. You just heard Jim Nance's call on CBS as 8th-seeded North Carolina sent Coach K into retirement with a bitter taste in his mouth as they held off Duke in the Final Four. Of course, UNC would come up short against Kansas only 2 nights later in the national title game. But for Tar Heel Nation and early naysayers about the Hubert Davis head coaching hire, it was much desired affirmation that Carolina basketball is still in great hands. With athletic director Bubba Cunningham's steady hand on the wheel, what could have been a dark transitional period in Chapel Hill, akin to the Guthridge-Doherty era, separating Dean Smith and Roy Williams, a situation every blue-blooded Carolina fan feared, turned out to be one of the proudest Cinderella stories in program history. Which is why the news that G.G. Jackson decommitting from North Carolina, the first Tar Heel recruit to do so since J.R. Smith in 2003, doesn't worry me in the least. In fact, it's probably more of a blessing than a curse. Hear me out. There's 2 reasons why I feel so confident that Carolina is going to be just fine without GG. Number 1, UNC still has plenty of weapons, especially at the power forward position, which is where Jackson would have fit in on the depth chart. Never mind the fact that Caleb Love, R.J. Davis, and Puff Johnson are still suiting up in the Argyle. At the 4 position, Carolina's brought in a premier replacement for Brady Manek with Pete Nance, who's actually following the Manek playbook to the letter by taking his extra year of COVID eligibility and cashing it in on 1 season with a blue blood program. You've also got Justin McCoy to fall back on, who exceeded every expectation set for him last year. You've got Leaky Black to slide over from small forward when the lineup goes small. Granted, Jackson could have been used to back up Armando Bacot, but Justin McCoy is also more than capable of stepping up, albeit in short bursts. There's no need to panic whatsoever. And number 2, G.G. Jackson's decommitment isn't a reflection on the North Carolina program in any way, especially when he hasn't even tried to hide his true commitment. Jackson wants to play in the NBA, and he wants to do it as soon as possible. From Jackson's own Twitter feed, and I quote, "I have decided to decommit from UNC to explore other options that can help me grow from a teenage boy to an adult to put me in the best position to reach my dream goal, which is the NBA." End quote. Does that mean Jackson will forego building a legacy at UNC to jump straight into the NBA, just like J.R. Smith 19 years ago? Maybe, but not likely. Sure, he's the number 6 high school prospect in the land for 2023, but he still has a long way to go to being battle-tested enough for the association. In all likelihood, he'll end up playing for Lamont Paris at South Carolina. Jackson is from Columbia, and the culture there post-Frank Martin is much more accepting of a guy with a clear one-and-done ambition than a Roy Williams-trained, old-school believer in a hierarchy by merit that is Hubert Davis. There's a reason North Carolina has never embraced the one-and-done mentality. That's not how the program is built. The one exception, Cole Anthony, led the Tar Heels to a 14-19 finish in 2019-2020. In Chapel Hill, one-and-dones don't get the job done. In this brave new world we live in, where cash is king and personal opportunity will almost always trump the concept of taking one for the team, G.G. Jackson's decommitment from UNC isn't surprising. And when you take a step back and see the whole picture, it's not that disappointing either. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild. Low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Delays on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, 240 west and eastbound near East Flat Rock, 26 westbound crawling between Ozone Drive and the US 25 connector. An incident near Holbert Cove Road. Onlooker delay has the eastbound side here also slow. 26 on the westbound side, again a bit slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between Bavard Road and Airport Road in patches. 40 westbound delays between the 26-240 split and Smoky Park Highway. 40 westbound again slow between Georges Branch Road and NC 215. Light delays 40 eastbound between NC 215 and Georges Branch Road. On Bavard Road northbound, traffic is stop and go between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road, delays. Hendersonville Road southbound near Fletcher approaching Fanning Bridge Road, delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Doug Brown. The Houston Texans settle 30 possible claims against the organization related to allegations of sexual misconduct against former quarterback Deshaun Watson. The settlements are confidential. Cameron Smith at 13 under par holds the second-round lead at St. Andrews after a 64 today. He's 2 shots ahead of first-round leader Cameron Young and 3 ahead of Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland. Tiger Woods misses the cut after a 75 today. Phil Mickelson also misses the cut. He shot 77 in his second round. Brittany Griner back in a Russian courtroom today. Her lawyer presented a doctor's letter recommending Griner use cannabis for pain. She's been held for almost 5 months and could face up to 10 years in prison if convicted of transporting drugs. Griner's next hearing is scheduled for July 26th.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
If you have it
now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it now.
Log on to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the program. Last hour of the show for the week.
This is the Let's Get Weird hour.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be. We've still got some business to attend to, though. We've got one more training camp preview of our NFC team of the day. Talking about the Atlanta Falcons. That one should be short and sweet. Jeremy's I'm Mad's coming up at the end of the hour. Plus, we got Don't Do Crimes. It's become a new fan favorite. But no new segment is bigger than the Daily Draft. The Daily Draft today centers around tight ends. Who are your top tight ends in the league? We're about to find out. And apparently I get the first pick because, well, I was winning the poll in the first place, but Jeremy really loves having those back-to-back picks.
I tapped. Nothing wrong with that.
He didn't pull the Al Gore on me and concede the race and then say, "Oh no, I take it back."
Lockbox. Sorry. Anytime I hear Al Gore's name, I have to throw that out there.
So for today's daily draft, we're picking tight ends in the NFL, and I have the number 1 pick overall. So
how you feel about that?
I don't feel great about it.
Does that make you feel warm and fuzzy?
I don't feel great about it, but
well, I mean, here's the thing. In fairness, there are 5 that I think are clearly ahead of the rest of the group, and you get 3 of them. So you should have a tremendous advantage here.
Right.
Now, I'm also the tight end whisperer, so you were at a disadvantage in the first place, so I thought I would do the things to help.
And you know what? I'm going at this as in the original thought of if you're starting a franchise, who's the guy that you would want? So my first pick is possibly going to be a surprise pick, but he is a guy that I am in love with. And I didn't mention this yesterday, but when we were talking wide receivers, there was also an article yesterday on ESPN.com from Bill Barnwell, who he went through and did his MVPs. These are the candidates for MVP
Which was
this
insane because he said there was a path to Brett Rippon being the MVP of the league.
Which is so
and
ridiculous.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah, which is
I
ridiculous.
love Bill Barnwell, but holy good gravy, tell me it's the middle of July without telling me it's the middle of July.
But all that time he wasted on, giving us the case for Brett Rippon and for Justin Tucker. He did not mention one guy that maybe this is going to be my spicy take, my plant the flag on this one at the beginning of the season. But there's a guy and there's a name that is going to make a lot of people laugh that I think is going to be in the MVP discussion at some point in this season that I have not heard anybody else mention. And it's Derek Carr. I think we will be talking at some point in this NFL season about Derek Carr being an MVP candidate. And it's because of the tight end that I'm going to take number 1 overall, Darren Waller.
I'm stunned.
I figured you would be. It's an off-the-wall pick, but I could see him having a fantastic year.
I don't know what to do with that. And look, I love Darren Waller. I do. But that is a spicy hot take.
It is.
And that, wow. How have you gone from the Raider hater to Captain Raider now?
I don't know that I'm Captain Raider, but there's one big addition.
Are you going to show up with like LOD shoulder pads at some point in this season?
Maybe.
I'm all the way in for that.
You never know.
I'm all the way in for that.
I'm not going crazy with the with the Raider talk, but I do feel like Derek Carr needed to be mentioned in that article. Am I off base in that?
No.
Okay.
I get it. I don't get what you just did, really, at all. Because I'll go ahead and tell you, you could have taken Darren Waller at 4 because I was not taking him in the top 3.
It's fine.
Well, that makes me feel much better about winning my favorite position. So I believe, very obviously, I'm going to go Travis Kelce with my first selection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that requires a whole lot of explanation of why I'm taking the best tight end in the league with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And now he's the unquestioned one.
Mm-hmm.
I have said I think you could see a statistical regression. That's more in percentages than it is in receptions and yards and touchdowns because there's not a lot of competition, but these guys are just good enough to keep a ton of pressure off him.
Mm-hmm.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling is enough of a deep threat. It's going to be hard to double Travis Kelce. Juju Smith-Schuster is good enough out of the slot, good enough underneath. It's going to be hard to double Travis Kelce. Now, I do think it's going to happen, but I still think he is the best tight end in the league.
Okay.
Now, the second pick is where this gets hard for me because in spite of what I think you made an error with your first pick,
mm-hmm.
you're going to be able to make up for it with the next one,
mm-hmm.
which really, I have played this poorly. If I had known Darren Waller was going to be one of your first three, I probably would have pushed a little harder for that first pick. Because now I feel like I'm having to choose between my children.
Right. There's a decision to be made.
And that's not easy. In one case, I run into injury problems.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish I had to.
And he will not make it back to you.
I know he won't. Neither one of the ones I'm debating between will. I feel like you went undercover sleeper here, knowing that.
No, like I said at the top, I took it as if I'm starting a franchise, that's the guy that I would want. One, because Travis Kelce's 32 years old, and two, because George Kittle has injury problems.
This is not an easy decision. You know what? Talent wins out. I'm taking George Kittle.
Okay.
I know he's there are injury issues. I'm well aware of that. I really wanted Mark Andrews. I was fully planning on you going Travis Kelce, and I got to go Mark Andrews, Kittle,
yeah.
and I was going to be fine, and you would have wound up with Darren Waller.
Right.
But that didn't work out that way. So my second choice is George Kittle.
All right.
And I know you're going to take one of my favorites.
Yes.
And it makes me sad.
Yes, I will. But first, since I went quote unquote youth movement, yes, I realize he's almost 30 years old.
I was about to say it's not really youth movement.
Yeah, he's newer to the game though because of the sidetrack that his career took. But now I am going to go youth movement. Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is my two.
I feel like that was an error in judgment solely because you didn't take the right guy first. You're still going to wind up with the right two, but
no, because the next pick's Mark Andrews.
Of course it is,
and it's not even close. Because now here comes the proverbial cliff for the tight end position.
And look, those five are the safest five tight ends in the league. The problem for me is that, at least the way I see this, these five are very safe, and they should, without a doubt, have been the first five taken in this. I don't think it's as proverbial cliffy as you think it is.
Okay.
Because I think there are a couple guys that I can take here. This is actually more of a decision than I thought it would be now that we're here. But, I mean, your start here, going Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, you got my 3, 4, and 5. I got 1 and 2.
True.
So that kind of makes me think that there's something to be said for maybe taking a little bit of a risk. I'm gonna ask you outright because I don't think the guy you would take here is going to make it back to you. If this was your selection,
yes,
at 6,
yes,
who are you taking? It's not going to change anything. The names are already written down. They're in stone on the list.
T.J. Hawkinson.
He's one of the two. So he is the next one up on the list. So, and it was said in our YouTube comments earlier that if Hawkinson played anywhere else and there had been consistent quarterback play, this would not be as spicy that he's 6.
Right.
And I don't think it is. He is as classic throwback tight end as any tight end in the league, not named George Kittle, because he is a willing blocker. I'm not going to say he's a great one because he's not.
Right.
Good body frame, and he can still do the move things that I was referencing earlier. I think he is that stereotypical tight end that you want, and now having DJ Chark on the outside, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot, Jameson Williams coming back in November, I think now you're going to see what he could be.
Oh, it's going to open up the field for him so much.
That Detroit Lions offense is going to be low-key drastically better than you would think.
And not to mention DeAndre Swift.
Oh, I didn't even mention the running backs.
Also a threat in the passing game.
And the fact they have one of the best young offensive lines in the league. If that defense can play dead in the Western, they're the best bet on the board to go over 4.5 wins or 5.5 or whatever it is. Because that offense is going to be very dynamic. I'm going to take the commercial break to choose my fourth.
All right.
Because there's 2. And I know neither one of them's coming back to me. It's just a question of which one can I be more okay with losing.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Benchmark day over. Jeremy, do it. From the old Fantasy Game Time Decisions podcast days.
Over!
80 pounds. I am now over 80 pounds down now on the PhD weight loss program. We've been doing it since Thanksgiving. I've been working the plan. Their healthy nutrition, the protein-based diet that I am on with PhD weight loss has helped me lose over 80 pounds. I cannot be happier with my results, and I owe it all to Dr. Ashley Lucas, the MVP of PhD.
You have been running 5Ks and doing things like that, which that was not really my goal. I've always been athletic. I've always done athletic things. I just wanted to be able to do it and not die for 48 hours afterwards. And thanks to the plan and program at PhD, I'm able to do that. I'm playing golf the same way I did in my early 20s. I'm down to my high school weight, and I haven't felt like this since I was in high school, and it's all thanks to PhD weight loss.
The plan and the food at PhD weight loss, very convenient, and it's great to look down at the scale and go 213 pounds is now what I'm ticking in at after being 295. Love PhD. You need to make a change? You get in touch with them. MyPhDweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss, the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans. Daily Draft continues next.
Saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Approaching East Flat Rock, 26 westbound traffic is stopped between Ozone Drive to approaching the US 25 connector due to an incident near Holbert Cove Road. 26 on the eastbound side is slow between Brevard Road and Hendersonville Road. 40 westbound is slow between Hendersonville Road and Brevard Road, an accident reported. 40 westbound again, slow between 26-240 Split, Malfunction Junction, and NC 215. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road northbound, stop and go between Clayton Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Sweeten Creek Road southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. The tear in my driver's seat does have sentimental value since my butt's molded to fit it. But I'm ready for a new one from eBay Motors with all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Till then, I'll just scooch. eBay Motors, let's ride.
Wendy's new Strawberry Frosty is here. So check your watch. Is it Frosty time yet? It probably is. The hour hand would be on, I'm feeling snacky. And the minute hand would be on, relaxing with a rich, creamy strawberry frosty on a summer day, just digging into that smooth, chilly deliciousness and vibing. You know, depending on what kind of watch you have. When it's time for Frosty time, choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty and Classic Chocolate or New Strawberry.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway. After retiring from the NFL, I've embraced my new role coaching my kids in their youth sports. Our Youth Basketball Association made the decision to use trusted coaches to train, screen, and educate all of our basketball coaches. Visit trustedcoaches.org to learn more. I'm a trusted coach. Are you?
You should be watching the World Cup right now, but you're not. Want to know why? Well, it's an interesting story, a mix of true crime, political scandal, and slow simmering corruption. You'll hear all about it on our new podcast, The Lords of Soccer, How FIFA Stole the Beautiful Game. I'm Connor Powell. The 12-part series from iHeartRadio and Inside Voices is out now. Listen to The Lords of Soccer on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles,
See you later, Dad.
all
Bye.
the ingredients for family.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
All right, daily draft time here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, live in the Ingles Studio, as we are each and every weekday afternoon here 3 to 6 on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It's Jeremy's turn, and so far we have started out with, I threw the curveball at the top of the draft, taking Darren Waller, number 1 overall. Then he goes Travis Kelce and George Kittle, as he should have. And then I followed that up with Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews.
That cost me Mark Andrews, which I was not super fond of. Then I went T.J. Hawkinson. Now to my pick, knowing full well that I'm going to lose somebody that I don't want to lose. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a projection because I think this guy is going to be a bigger piece of his offense than he has been in the past, and he's been fantastic, even having better weapons around him than he has now. So with my 4th selection, I'm taking Mr. Dalton Schultz.
Wow, Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys.
I had to come to terms of who can I be okay losing? And I don't feel like I could take anybody but him here and still win.
Okay.
And I feel very sure that you're not going to touch my UDFA, which will come at the end of this draft, which makes me feel pretty good.
Okay. Dalton Schultz is the pick at number 3 for Jeremy's team.
That's 4.
Wait. Who did you take it?
Travis Kelce, George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz.
Oh, you did take T.J. Hawkinson.
I did.
Okay. Well, poo on that.
This is why you are not the official records keeper of this here program.
I didn't realize that was an official pick. You said he was on the list. I didn't hear you officially make the pick.
I did.
I apologize for that. So Dalton Schultz and T.J. Hawkinson.
I like Dalton Schultz. I think he's a complete player. Snap count, I believe, goes up this year. Mm-hmm. Target share goes up this year with no Amari Cooper. I could see a path that he ends as a top 5 tight end in this league this year. I cannot say that about the other guy that I wanted to take.
Interesting.
And I fully know you're going to do something dumb right here, and I'm almost willing to bet anything you want that I know one of your 2 picks.
Okay. Go ahead.
No.
Tell me who it is.
I'm not going to let you I'm not going to let you
No. I gave you TJ Hawkinson. You got to tell me who you think I'm going to pick.
Cuz if I say it's dumb, then I'm not going to do that. No. But I will ring the bell if I'm right.
Okay. All right. Well, here's the thing. I'm building a youth movement here.
Yep, knew this guy wasn't coming back to me.
And I don't like his quarterback situation right now. But the guy is a red zone target monster. And I'm going with Pat Freiermuth.
Yep, I knew he wasn't coming back.
The old Freiermuth.
In fairness, that was the other player I was debating with.
Right.
With
well,
Dalton Schultz.
Look, it was last year when Ben Roethlisberger said that Pat Freiermuth reminds him so much of Heath Miller when I went, you know what? This is my new favorite tight end. Because when Heath Miller was in the league, I was in love with him. There wasn't a fantasy football team that I had that didn't have Heath Miller in the tight end position. And I agree. I see a lot of Heath Miller in Pat Freiermuth. Does he need to get better as a blocker? I guess if you're going to make him, pencil him into that traditional tight end role. but the guy just catches everything that comes his way.
I love him as a young piece in an offense that is everything in Pittsburgh. I just feel like it's going to work out because it virtually always has.
Mm-hmm.
I loved him in the draft. I love him now.
Yep. Last year, according to Next Gen Stats, he got 75% of his passes that came his way last year. Sure hands, love it.
Now this is where I think you're going to take the person that I value to be a boo-boo.
A boo-boo?
A boo-boo.
Okay. Well, I think at this point, I have to lean on the stats. I have to lean on performance. And while we make a lot of jokes about him, I'm taking Dallas Goederte.
That is not what I thought you were going to do.
Because, look, for all of the qualms that I have about Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, there does seem to be a good connection between him and Goederte. So
that is not what I thought you were going to do.
Really?
No. Now I feel very sure he's going to be your undrafted free agent.
Yes. More than likely. I think I know who you're talking about.
I think you do too. I think you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel as though you've left me a choice.
No, I haven't.
I don't feel as though you've left me a choice. He plays for my 2023 Super Bowl champion, Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Dawson
Nobody
Knox.
circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, Dawson Knox, to me, he came on the scene last year. I didn't really believe in Dawson. He was just another piece. And then last year, I felt like we finally saw some of what he's capable of, and there may be a high ceiling for him.
And he's the super red zone target. I mean, being as big as he is, as athletic as he is, can play that move position. I will be honest with you, my intention was I did not think you would touch Dallas Goederte, so I was going to go Dawson Knox here and try to UDFA Dallas Goederte because I thought you were going to take the other guy, who I have a feeling you're about to take now, in that spot.
Aha. How did I know? How did I know that that's the one that you thought was dumb? Because I said it the other day, and you flipped out on me.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the beauties of doing these shows together for as long as we have. We can pretty much read each other's thoughts.
Yeah, there was part of me that considered taking him with the 5th pick, and then I went, no.
Oh, I wish you had. That would have made the UDFA thing a lot more anxious.
All right, undrafted free agent time. This is where we count to 3 or count down from 3 and say a name for our UDFA. If at some point we ever tie and say the same name,
ain't happening here,
then we're going to nobody's going to get a UDFA for that draft. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
David Njoku.
I got Mike Gesicki, and I feel like I win. As
you
always.
got Mike Gesicki, I got David Njoku.
I've seen production from Mike Gesicki. I haven't seen it from David Njoku. The talent is there. We know that. We know the talent is there with Njoku. He has a much higher ceiling, in my opinion.
Oh, no doubt.
Than Mike Gesicki.
Here's the thing about Mike Gesicki, and the reason that I will say I don't love that. He had 73 catches, 780 yards without Tyreek Hill. What do you think's going to happen now? And I will say, I've said this from the jump of I do not know how he fits in this system. Look at the tight ends. The Jets and the Dolphins run the same system.
Okay.
Mike McDaniel and Mike LaFleur were in the same system together under Kyle Shanahan. Look at the 3 tight ends on that roster. Tyler Conklin, C.J. Uzomah, Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State. You know what all 3 of those guys have in common?
What's that?
They're all 3 good blockers. They're all 3 at least serviceable blockers. Mike Gesicki couldn't block me. So I feel like he's going to wind up out there as a third receiver slot kind of guy, which cuts his snap share down because you're going to have to play a legitimate tight end that can actually block if you're planning on running that scheme. I don't have a problem with him as a player. I have a problem with the fit. And the fact that of all of the players that were franchise tagged, he is the one that had virtually no constructive conversations towards a long-term deal. That tells me they didn't want to lose him for anything, but they also don't believe in him enough to commit. They want to see him in this offense, and I'm just not sure it's going to go as well.
I think the added weapons, it can open the door. Maybe his target share goes down. Actually, his target share will go down. But I don't know that the production won't be there. I think having Tyreek Hill added with Jalen Waddle, that's going to open up some space for Mike Gesicki because he can stretch the field as well.
If you had another pick, who would it be? Just because there were a couple names said in the comments, I want to see if any of them would have been your next one.
I don't know.
Mine's Logan Thomas. And I wouldn't have thought about it for a tenth of a second.
Really?
Because I knew you wouldn't do it.
It probably would be Noah Fant.
That's who I thought. I thought yours would either be Noah Fant or Hunter Henry.
Yeah, Hunter Henry scored a lot of touchdowns last year, and I think
I figured the talent on Hunter Henry would probably be enough for you.
Injury issues. That's the thing I got about Hunter Henry is that he's never lived up to my expectations because he's not healthy enough. So,
I also must say I drafted the safest team in the history of creation in any draft that we've ever done.
I would agree with that.
That is the safest team ever. There is very little upside to my team.
It's weird. I ended up being the one that taking the shots on this one. All right, we'll have the social media post out after the show. You can vote on it on the socials at the Sportsocracy on all of the socials. And, of course, we'll have the poll up on Monday during the program so we can decide who gets the first pick on Monday's daily draft. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild. Low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is stopped 26 westbound between US 74 and the US 25 connector due to an accident. Westbound lanes are closed. 26 eastbound, pockets of slow traffic volume between Bavard Road to east of Hendersonville Road. 40 westbound delays between Hendersonville Road and Bavard Road due to an accident. Again, 40 westbound is slow between the 26-240 split and NC 215. New Leicester Highway eastbound near Eve Lake Drive, an accident. Heavy delays here. Brevard Road northbound, stop and go between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Also Brevard Road southbound from the Bent Creek area to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Heavy delays. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound near Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Get inspired during Dell's Black Friday and July sale with up to $500 off select computers like XPS laptops and Alienware systems with Intel Core processors. Plus, get great financing with a Dell Preferred account and free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Hey, it's Mark Starling from First News on 570 for my friends over at Casablanca Cigar Bar. And I got to tell you, this is my new spot for business and for pleasure. Sam, Brooke, and Jackie will make sure all of your cigar and cocktail needs are taken care of. They have a wide selection of the finest cigars in every price point, and their selection of spirits and craft cocktails will have your taste buds watering. So whether it's a smoke and a cocktail at their Biltmore Village location or just a smoke at their new retail location in Hendersonville that has a gorgeous back patio, Casablanca Cigar Bars has all the relaxation you need.
Choosing Sides, F1, a podcast about... What are we doing here, Lily?
Well, you're in the right place, Michael. I'm Lily Herman, Formula One expert.
And I'm Michael Costa, comedian, and I'm just going to be honest here, complete F1 newbie.
On this inaugural season of Choosing Sides, we're tackling the historic and controversial sport of Formula One race car driving.
Who are these drivers? Rich kid? Daddy issues.
Daddy issues galore. Listen to Choosing Sides F1 on the iHeartRadio app.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and as we always like to say, don't do crimes. It's time where we talk about the weird crime stories of the day, and I feel like this is crimes. No crimes have been charged in this case that I'm aware of, but there's a viral video going around social media where a woman got so irate at a McDonald's drive-thru.
I saw this story.
She was so mad when they told her, we can't fix your order. Now, here's what happened. She ordered her food, and when she got up to the window, they said, ma'am, we apologize. We can't make your order because we ran out of gloves.
We ran out of gloves to make your food.
We have no more gloves in the restaurant, which means, health reasons. We can't make your order. This woman got so mad, and I'm guessing that drugs/alcohol were involved, that she got out of her car and climbed through the drive-thru window to try to make her own order. Now, bonus points, she was wearing a very, very nice pink skirt and high heels. This woman scaled out of her car up into the drive-thru window as the only thing that they could do in the drive-thru window was sit back and film this woman climbing with great athletic prowess in her high heels and laughing hysterically.
As a man that's worn a pair of high heels, I can tell you doing anything athletic in those is quite the feat.
Now, should they have chosen, I'm sure they could have charged her with trespassing or whatever. Like I said, I have not heard that any crimes have been charged in this case, but that's crimes. 1, DUI, immediate, and 2, trespassing.
My number one question is, did she actually make the order? Like, did she walk out of there with a Big Mac? That's all I want to know.
Well, we know one thing for certain. She did not get her ice cream.
No, because the machine was broken.
Because the machine was broken. She is the one person that has found out firsthand that, yes, the machine is broken.
You did not throw out the quote of when she climbed in the window. She asked for who the manager on duty was because you're my new training manager.
Right.
I laughed hysterically when I heard that. My story, not quite so funny. It involves Tamiko Jones, Tony Lemon, Diamond Walton.
Okay.
3 people, all from Texas. They, as many do, sat down at a Shelby, North Carolina Waffle House for a meal. That's not out of the ordinary.
No.
Now, my question would be, were you intoxicated? Because that is physically the only way you should ever eat Waffle House. If you're eating it sober, there are people eating that in the daytime. I need explanations. The problem wasn't that they sat down at Waffle House. It's what they did afterwards. They ordered their food. They ate their meal. Apparently, after they ate their meal, Mr. Lemon stood up with a handgun and robbed the Waffle House.
Oh, dear.
Here's the thing. It's not the first time they've done that because they had outstanding warrants in Midden, Louisiana from a few days before where they did the same thing.
Oh.
They sat down at a Waffle House and then they robbed it. U.S. Marshals, Cleveland County Sheriff's Department, they worked in tandem. They arrested these people. They're now being extradited to Texas to face crime warrants from things they did there. Now, here's my question. You should never do crimes.
No.
All right? Crimes are always bad.
Never.
If you're going to rob a place, why is Waffle House the worst decision humanly possible? That's one place you could try to rob and get smoked at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
That cook will wear you like a hat. Every Waffle House I have ever sat down in, I've looked at the cook and gone, that dude would beat my brains out. I don't care if you got a gun or not.
Right.
Bold strategy, Cotton. See how it works out for them.
See, my question is, when did they do it? When was it? Was it in the evening?
It was in the evening. It was on Wednesday.
See, if you're gonna hit the Waffle House and you should never do that.
Don't do crimes.
I'm just saying, if I was the criminal and I'm planning this out, I'm probably gonna hit him after the drunk rush at 2 a.m.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, if you're looking for monies,
right? I mean, I think your options for the take home is limited if you hit it in the afternoon.
I'm pretty sure Kelvin Joyner just one comment of the day.
What'd he say?
He said, don't do crimes at Waffle House. Waffle House staff has also done crimes.
Indeed. Indeed.
And they may be gooder at it than you are.
Right. And have been convicted probably of worse crimes than you're committing at the moment.
I also apparently said crime warrants. I meant to say outstanding warrants. But
crime warrants.
From now on, crime warrants.
Yeah, crime warrants.
And that's how that happens.
Oh, it is ESPN Asheville, and it's time for another pre-training camp preview of another NFL team. Already talked about the Baltimore Ravens, a team that I'm picking to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to predict this team will be nowhere near the Super Bowl this year unless they buy tickets, and that's going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Is this the worst roster in the NFL?
No.
I don't agree with you.
This is worse than Houston?
I think so.
I
think so. Name the three best players on this team.
Kyle Pitts, A.J. Terrell, Drake London.
Who's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And a raw rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone Cordero Patterson.
Yeah. I mean,
look at what you got after that.
Yeah.
It gets very Deion Jones, who may not be on this team, and a slew of rookies very quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good team. But Atlanta is adhering to my methodology of if you're going to be bad, be bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's no path this team wins more than 6 games.
No.
None. Short of the NFL starts a new rule that they're allowed to play with 15 players at a time. Even then, 9-8 at best.
Mm-hmm. And I mentioned earlier the article, the MVP discussion article by Bill Barnwell yesterday on ESPN.com. Did you notice who was on the list? Marcus Mariota.
Stop.
What? Not even just making stuff up.
Well, he was comparing.
Of course he was.
To previous winners. I get it. If you had to bet on whom starts more games for this team, is it Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder?
I think it's Desmond Ridder.
I think it's Desmond Ridder, and I would not have thought about it nearly as long as you just did.
Really? Well, I was thinking about what the odds would be. Depends on what kind of odds I'm getting.
Yeah, they're pretty close to the same. The thing about Mariota, he's been hurt at some point in every season he's ever played.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how and look, we don't try to prognosticate injuries, but when you've been in the league for 7 years, you've been hurt in every single season you played in. Now it's not really a prognostication. And I could easily see that being the path here. I could also see a path that Desmond Ridder comes in and he's just flat out better.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mariota knows the system. I get that. There's not a lot of high-level things that he's ever done in this league. I long said I feel like he is the quarterback they brought in. We'll call it a bridge. I'm not sure it's really a bridge. If this is close, Desmond Ridder wins.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see him for 17 games, and you'll know definitively what you have 1 year from now. You're invested a third-round pick. So if you believe Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or Will Levis or whoever in next year's draft is your guy, Desmond Ridder is not going to preclude you from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
If you wind up and he is your backup quarterback for the next 8 years, that's not a waste of a third-round pick. I've heard that narrative of, well, they have their quarterback of the future. They might.
They might.
I'd say it's a 15% chance of that.
Mm-hmm. You know who else thought they had their quarterback of the future?
Carolina Panthers.
The Arizona Cardinals. Think back to the Josh Rosen year. And he was so bad in his rookie season, and they got the number 1 pick, that they went, yeah, we're done with that.
Well, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's how this is going to go.
No.
I don't think there's I don't think there's an upside with him. And you look at what Arthur Smith's doing. First of all, I think he's the safest coach in the NFL. I do not think there is a coach in this league that is safer in their standing than Arthur Smith.
Okay.
Arthur Blank had to give him all assurances of, we're going to blow this up. I mean, this is going to be a complete tear it down to the studs. And that's the only way he took this job.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just not a lot here. I mean, what does this team do well? They have one corner. Okay, cool. I can massacre whoever you put on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Throw A.J. Terrell on my 1. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll kill you with my 2 and my 3. I'm going to be able to run down your throat. And you're not very dynamic offensively. You have a couple good weapons, but I don't buy anything that you have in your quarterback room.
Mm-mm.
But as I've said many times, if you're going to be bad, be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play around this and live in purgatory of picking at number 9. Atlanta has 2 speeds. They're either going to pick number 1 in this draft, because I think there's only 2 teams that are in the stratosphere of as bad as they are. And it's the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is so vet, they're going to win games that they're not supposed to. Atlanta, if you look at their 2 deep, they're going to start no less than 6 guys that are in their first or second year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going all the way in on what do we have. And it will be 7 if they move Deion Jones, as I have been told they will, because he doesn't fit the scheme in the least.
Right.
He's a 4-3 outside linebacker. He does not fit as an interior linebacker in a 3-4. So now you have even less. Now you have even less vet leadership on the defense. You're going to be playing Troy Anderson as your signal caller, who was a quarterback 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Love the kid. We talked about him ad nauseum. What's the best way for him to learn the position? It's not sitting on the sideline holding a clipboard, I promise you. So Atlanta's going to do what I've said bad teams should do. You're going to trot out a borderline XFL roster. You are going to get scattered, smothered, covered, diced, chunked, every word that happens to hash browns at Waffle House.
Right.
And a year from now, you have $1 billion. You're going to have more salary cap space than practically any team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a very high draft pick. You'll have Calvin Ridley that will be worth something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. And you will have figured out Brian Edwards is a player, or Jalen Mayfield is a player, or whatever the case may be. And you'll know exactly what you need. This is the kind of teardown that more NFL teams should do. Now, is it going to be pretty? Nope.
No.
Those 1 o'clock games on Fox, and I got news for you, you're going to have a slew of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be pretty. I mean, this is a team that will get blown out regularly. But a year from now, you'll be in a much better position.
I agree. Atlanta doesn't have much going for them other than the fact that they'll be loaded with options.
They do have Casey Hayward, too. I should throw that out there. Casey Hayward's the other corner.
Right.
And I like him. That's all well and good. Mm-hmm. With that pass rush, you could probably have Deion Sanders and Marlon Humphrey back there, and it still wouldn't matter.
You got no faith? No faith in Lorenzo Carter?
No.
Or Arnold Ebiketie?
I like Ebiketie. He's raw.
Mm-hmm.
If you get half of what the Ravens got out of Odafe Owa last year, you'll be ecstatic. And he's probably your best pass rusher.
Right.
And that's not a slight at Owa. They were both raw pass rushers coming out of school. A little bit of a lazy comparison because they played together. But there's just not a lot. There's not a lot to like. There's a lot of young guys. You're going to work through some ugly adversity. The good thing is, as I said, I think Arthur Smith feels very safe. And he's going to be able to put this team together the way he wants to.
Yep.
This is not going to be, and I'll give you an example. This is not going to be Lovie Smith in Houston. Lovie Smith got shoehorned into that job, and you're going to deal with what we give you. Oh, this guy doesn't fit your defense? We don't care. We like this guy. He's here for a long time. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so the good of that is Houston will win a couple more games this year than Atlanta will. The bad of that is that it really does nothing for you long term.
I feel like this team has pretty good weapons for not a lot else. Which is like the exact opposite of how I feel about, like, the Ravens, for example. I mean, obviously, not counting the running back position, those wide receivers, awful. Comparatively speaking to the other groups that we see around the NFL. But this one, not that bad.
The only thing that makes me nervous is I always hate seeing teams that build furthest from the ball to closest.
Mm-hmm.
That always makes me nervous. And I'll use a team that I'm close to, the New York Jets. What'd they do last year? Yeah, you got your quarterback, but what was all of the rest of your money spent on? Defensive line, offensive line.
Right.
Go into another offseason, you do the same thing. Now you look at that team and go, all right, you've got Zach Wilson in a position to succeed. I think you're so far away that let's say everything goes your way, and I know this is going to sound a little strange on the back end. Everything goes your way, you're the worst team in the NFL, you get the number one pick.
But are you saying that they erred in their picks? Are you saying that
you couldn't bypass Kyle Pitts?
Thank you.
You could have bypassed Drake London, but you would have fallen into the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could they have taken Charles Cross? Sure.
And
Does that really change anything for you? Probably not.
And I was looking back at the A.J. Terrell pick as well. I mean, he's one of the best corners in the league.
I agree. You've got talent there. The problem is that think of how many teams we've seen that Miami Dolphins. Weapons are great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy your quarterback in the least.
Mm-hmm.
Your offensive line terrifies me. We've both said we're not as high on that team as everybody else is. That's my fear with the rebuild in Atlanta. You're going to have to hit a lot in those 9 positions closest to the ball to get the most out of these guys that you have around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like in the comments they're talking about this might be one of the best corner duos in the league. I don't disagree with you. The problem is that they're going to have to hold up for an extra second to a second and a half longer than everybody else in the league. You know what that translates to? It ain't going to look good.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. The Atlanta Falcons. What is your number on wins for them this year?
3.
That's what I was thinking.
3-14.
Yeah.
You'll catch one against Carolina solely because you do every single year.
Mm-hmm.
You'll win a game that you probably shouldn't. And I would say you'll either beat Seattle or one of these other just god-awful, gruesomely terrible teams that are on the schedule.
Do they play the Houston Texans? Can we mark that toilet bowl on the schedule?
No, but they play at the Seattle Seahawks week 3.
That'll be close.
In a game that if they played it in my backyard, I would sew my eyes shut to avoid having to see it.
That may be one of the worst games of the entire
They also
season.
play the Chicago Bears in week 11
mm-hmm.
in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, which the only reason you should go to that is if they're giving away free beer.
Carolina Panther fans feel like you should be happy with the state of the Atlanta Falcons because at least you can look at that team and go, we're definitely better than them. It's the only team in the division that you can say that about at this moment. Hey, you sweep the I-85 series this year, you're halfway home to what I feel like your eventual win total may actually be. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, and coming up next, Jeremy's Mad.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is crawling 26 westbound west of US 74 to the Gorge Zip Line near Saluda Truck Plaza. Again, 26 westbound light delays approaching the US 25 connector. 26 eastbound is slow in pockets between the French Broad River and Hendersonville Road. 40 westbound slow between Hendersonville Road and Bavard Road. Again, 40 westbound slow between George's Branch Road and NC 215. New Leicester Highway eastbound near Eve Lake Drive, an accident. 2 lanes reportedly blocked here. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Bavard Road northbound between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway, delays. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Don't miss the Greater Smokies Card Show, July 16th at the Smoky Mountain Events Center. Find amazing sports and trading cards, collectibles, memorabilia, toys, and comics. Admission is just $5 for adults. Kids 12 and under are free. Greater Smokies Card Show, Saturday, July 16th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Smoky Mountain Events Center, 758 Crabtree Road in Waynesville. Vendors, register today for only $40. Email greatersmokiescardshow@gmail.com. Presented by Lemons and Willow Event Management.
Where did I put that?
Pete's property manager just took an extended vacation.
Casita Dreams.
He needs a replacement before this becomes a cruel summer.
Oh, you wanted the lakefront for the 17th. How did this get double booked already?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Dirty Turkish shark back flat.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Shark back flat. Rotten
Let the hate flow through you.
For anybody like me that grew up a golf fan, today was a sad day. You watch Tiger Woods walk up the 18th fairway, and you could just tell. The narrative has been that he knows this is his last time at St. Andrews. I don't agree. I think this is he knows what's happening. He knows it's over. And that's a sad day. But I'm going to throw a stat at you, and I want to see how close you come. Tiger Woods was number 1 in the world for 683 weeks. That is the equivalent of just over 13 years. Do you have any idea who is second on that list since the World Golf Ranking started in 1986?
Phil.
It's Greg Norman at 331. Second is Dustin Johnson at 135. There have only been 4 guys that have been number 1 in the golf rankings for more than 2 years. The 4th one is Rory McIlroy.
Huh.
Here's where that bothers me. We have a great slew of young golfers that are going to be on display this weekend, crowning the 2022 Major Champion of 2022. The problem is that you're going to be held up against Tiger forever. You know how I know that? Because I've watched this happen to a slew of golfers already. Mm-hmm. At some point, we have to be able to differentiate what we've just seen. Much like when Michael Jordan walked away. We tried to compare Kobe forever. We've compared LeBron James forever. You know what neither of them ever lived up to being? Michael. They're just not. And nobody's going to be Tiger ever again. But that doesn't change the fact that Scottie Scheffler is a great golfer. And Cameron Smith, who's currently leading the Open after 36 holes, is a great golfer. My fear is that we're about to go through 20 years where everybody is compared to Tiger and they'll never live up, which means these guys' legacies will be tarnished forever because you didn't live up to a superhuman alien that's 4 times better than any golfer that's ever lived. Don't believe me? Check the stats. They back it up. I'm mad.
Tiger Woods probably going to step away any moment from. I mean, I would not be shocked if he came out and just retired, just flat out retired.
I won't either. Hey, because like you said earlier, He's not just going to show up here as the ceremonial, hey, look, Tiger's here. He's competitive or he's not here.
Right. He has that Michael Jordan streak. He's the closest thing to Michael Jordan in any other sport.
I agree with that.
And I just don't feel like he's going to be the ceremonial chip. He's going to be done with it, walk away. Maybe he'll still be around the game.
I don't think he will.
You don't think he will?
I think he's one that goes away and he's gone.
Really?
And my hope is that we can figure out what we just saw is something nobody will ever come close to.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never even be in the same breath. Just acknowledge that, move on, and understand this is a golden age for golf. You just have to appreciate it.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the Open Championship. Cameron Smith, Cameron Young, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Dustin Johnson, the LIV guy. They're in the mix in the top 5 at the Open Championship at St. Andrews. We'll see you back here on Monday at 3 o'clock.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
A few stray showers possible out there, but high pressure locally is working to try and keep us dry as we head into the start of our weekend. And temperatures are pretty summery and mild, low tonight about 62. High for your Saturday, similar to today, 85, with a mix of sun and clouds. Again, can't completely rule out a stray PM pop-up. Thunderstorms are a little bit more likely Sunday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Rachel Kay with the Weather Channel.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Travis stop and go 26 westbound west of US 74 to the Gorge Zip Line Saluda Truck Plaza area. Again, 26 westbound approaching the US 25 connector. Expect delays. 26 westbound near Chimney Rock Road is slowing. 26 eastbound slow between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound delays between Hendersonville Road and Bavard Road. New Leicester Highway eastbound heavy delays near Old Country Home Road. An accident, 2 lanes are blocked. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Try Taco Bell's new cheesy double beef burritos now. A melty 3-cheese blend with nacho cheese sauce and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Prices vary, tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.